thefanatic.com.
Well, we've been talking about the NFC Championship game for like a couple of weeks now. Last week, we straight up said that they're on the same tier as the Lions, and it's just whether or not it's going to be in Philly or Detroit. Well, with all that being said, there's probably still things we can learn about this team. What are they? It is Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
There's only one question left, and it's whether the NFC Championship game will be held in Philadelphia or Detroit.
I'm telling you right now, this team is the best team in the NFC.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Thursday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside John Kincade. Johnny, good morning.
A great morning it is, and it was sleeting
I didn't see
out
that.
in West Goshen. We were having sleet. We're having sleet right now in West Goshen. I can see on the camera.
I didn't have any of that. My drive was peaceful on the way in here.
Well, I have a feeling it'll come over. Some of the little bands will come through. But it's a little warmer this morning.
Yes, it is. I heard we were talking yesterday. Connor and I were at the Sixers game with a couple of our clients, and then Ray Dunn was there and some of our sales team. We were talking snow squalls.
Yes.
Dee Lineham, she was there. She never heard of a snow squall.
Wait a minute.
We were talking.
Wait a minute. Now, Dee only spent, I believe, 1 year at O'Hara, but has spent a ton of time in Delco. She absolutely should know what a snow squall is.
Oh,
That's all I'm going to say.
We talked snow squalls.
Dee, that is a violation on your part.
We talked Gershon Yabusele, and we talked snow squalls.
Okay, but that's more interesting.
That's what we talked about yesterday.
It's been a fast week, and we're closer and closer to Sunday with the Birds.
Yep, 1 o'clock kickoff against the Panthers on Sunday. And, yes, we are watching a game that we think will be a beatdown from the Eagles to the Panthers. But here's what we want to get into today. So we're at the point now where it's NFC Championship game. Like, if they don't make the NFC Championship game,
huge disappointment.
Huge disappointment. Like, they choked a game because they will probably be favorites in any of the rounds leading up to the Lions game if they don't get the 1 seed.
They will absolutely be favored in every single game until they would play on the road.
Right, absolutely. And so when we say this stuff, it almost feels like we don't have to talk about the team itself anymore. But we do.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are still things that they need to get better at. We've talked about the first quarter scoring, the early scoring a couple of times this week. Is that going to keep them from winning big? I'm not 100% sure. They're on an 8-game winning streak, and the first quarter scoring hasn't gotten better since the bye week, and yet they've won 8 straight games, and they've beaten a team like the Bengals who puts up a lot of points. They've beaten the Baltimore Ravens this past week. They beat the L.A. Rams, right, without having this great first quarter offensively. So there's still a lot to learn about this Eagles team. Now, what are they? Because, Johnny, after the Rams game, you already were like, hey, I learned about this secondary. They were able to take care of business against Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Matt Stafford's a real quarterback, unlike the teams they played before them. I said against the Commanders game, I would learn about the linebackers. Are they indeed real in a short week, physical week against a physical team and a quick quarterback in Jaden Daniels? Zach Ball and Kobe Dean balled out. I learned that this team, this linebacking core is real. You look at the schedule, and you pointed something out to me yesterday. The secondary is done with tests.
The tests are over. Like the secondary test. Look, they're going to have Dez. Gosh, going back in my Cowboy days. They're going to still have to face a Cowboy team that still doesn't have a quarterback that can throw it.
Right.
But other than that, the tests are over. I believe for this team as far as for a secondary.
I mean, think about it. You have Bryce Young this weekend, which he's already being labeled a bust. I know he's played better the last couple of weeks, but that label's already on him. Russell Wilson, I know he threw for over 400 yards, but I think Connor could throw for 400 yards against the Bengals team.
And
it feels good.
I am in no way worried about the Steelers passing all over the field on this team.
Absolutely.
Now,
not.
Matching the physicality of the Steelers, there's going to be a lot to talk about next week.
Yeah, and we'll see how that works out.
They present their own challenges more to our offense.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for this defense, I think the major challenges are over.
Yeah, Cooper Rush, Trey Lance,
they passed with flying colors.
And so
over and over again.
From the rest of the way, we're watching teams with bad to horrible quarterback play. Like, there's not a quarterback. Like, last week was, all right, let's see how they can beat Lamar. And Lamar, of course, multi-factors, right? Not only can he throw the ball downfield, not only can he throw all the short and intermediate routes, he can also run the football. And then you also have to be prepared to stop the run with Derrick Henry. The rest of the way, it's kind of like, all right, just keep them out of the end zone.
You know what I love what's gone away, though, Andrew? And I think it's gone away on social media. It's gone away from our callers and our texters. Well, I need to see them do this. I need to watch this team do that. No. Those talking points for the last few weeks are gone.
Except for the first quarter points.
No.
We got that. We still got that earlier in the week.
That's something to work. By the way, I'll trumpet that too.
Yeah.
I think it's something worth talking about. But to me, right now, you're talking about a blemish on a really attractive woman.
Yeah.
You're saying, man, but she's got that little like zit on her forehead. No, she's beautiful. So just say it. They're beautiful. And it's just a matter of fine-tuning and getting things fixed over these next 3 games. Not 5, 3.
Yeah, because toward the last 2 weeks,
I don't think the last 2 are going to mean much.
Yeah, exactly. So our question today to start, what can we still learn about this football team? Like, at this point, I think we feel pretty good about the secondary, no matter who they're playing. We feel pretty good about the defensive line, whether it's a run-first offense or a pass-first offense. They're getting to the quarterback. They're not letting Derrick Henry, of all people, run all over them. So, like, the defense, I feel pretty good saying there's no more questions about them.
Could you create more turnovers? Could that be something we see more in the last 5 games where the turnover numbers go up? Could we see the Eagles win, and I believe it's coming Sunday? I think Sunday is the laugher.
Like the 17-point victory?
Yeah. Remember 2022, 2017? It's the only thing that's not congruent to this year's team. Those teams won a lot of laughers.
Yes, they did.
I am expecting Sunday we are going to see an Eagles laugher. I really do.
I like that.
I think they're going to make Bryce Young look every bit the rookie that he looked.
I said earlier in the week,
mentality.
I'm expecting if you have Eagles defense/special teams on your fantasy football team,
you're feeling good.
I'm expecting them to get a touchdown at some point. Somebody's going to score a touchdown, either a pick six, a fumble recovery for a touchdown, or it's going to be a punt return.
You realize the genesis of our conversations, though, for the Eagles now, once they passed that Baltimore game and Rams game, that was a really impressive 2-game test.
Yeah.
And now our conversations are about the fine-tuning. But what's the little thing we want them to get better at? The major worries have been lifted off our shoulders.
Absolutely.
It's wonderful. It's a great place to be.
No, it's
a
an
great
amazing
place to be.
Now, this leads us to our second topic today. And again, if you want to climb in, text line, phone line, you can at 610-632-0975. What can we still learn about this Eagles team? Or as John has mentioned, what can they still fine-tune for this football team to be the legitimate Super Bowl contender that...
Sure, they already are.
They already are, but there are people, John, that are still hesitant. Now, I'm not saying John is in you.
No.
I'm just saying that because you know that I'm correct, that there are people that are still hesitant. And so this is going to be a deeper conversation that's not necessarily about the Eagles, but it's about Philadelphia sports and about Philadelphia sports fans. And this isn't everybody. As we know, yesterday we were a little critical of Nick Sirianni, and there were people that came to his defense yesterday.
Sure.
So there are people that always lead with the positive. But the people we want to try to figure out today, and man, this is a study that will forever be happening in Philadelphia sports. What makes you lead with the sky is falling mentality at times?
I think that, first of all, I hate it. I hate that mentality within our fan base. It drives me nuts. But I think our friend Amy Fadul had a great point on this the other day about that it's almost part of the genetic code, that the people who teach you pass it down. Your dad, your grandfather, my uncles, I think of, that mentality of
They stink.
Don't feel too good. Don't feel too good. They're going to kick you in the privates. And I understand people of my generation and the generation above me that have that mentality because we lived a lot more of it. So I can understand it. I never had it. I was one of the ones arguing with my friends that Buddy Ryan was a dope.
Right.
And I wanted the Eagles to win, but I thought Buddy was a dope. So there was that mentality of, this is going to be bad. I always wanted to be optimistic. And I think that it comes as part of how you're taught. It's nature versus nurture, and it is absolutely in the Philly community nurture. It's nurture.
Yeah.
And I think our boy B Gunn has some of it. He's got that Delco. He's got that. It's big. It's big in Delco.
Oh, is it stronger in Delco?
It's strong in Delco. It's almost as strong as somebody who went to technical school that has all the Notre Dame gear and the license plate and everything like that in Delco. It's almost as strong as that. It's the idea of that whole mentality of the sky's falling when anything goes bad, because we don't want to get our hopes up. I want to get my hopes up every day that my feet touch the ground.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this. You mentioned Amy earlier this week. That same day was when I got the tweet from one of my old buddies at college, Marty. And Marty was talking about how it's such a dumb topic to start talking about whether or not the Eagles should still have their foot on the gas pedal or not, because they haven't clinched the division yet. And when I read that response, I love you, Marty. What do you mean they haven't clinched the division yet? Yeah, you're right, technically. But do you really think they're going to lose the division? And then, of course, right away, one of our first responses is, well, do you not remember what happened last year?
Yeah, I do remember.
But that's what a lot of people are going to go to. They're going to go to what happened last year. They're going to go to the 3 championship losses within 100 days, right? Which is something that we went through. Guys, at least we were in the championships.
Seriously.
Like we're about to watch the Eagles take on the Carolina Panthers this weekend. Do you know what the line is of that game?
What is it?
It's 12.5. The Eagles are 12.5-point favorites over the Carolina Panthers. Imagine how much worse certain situations could be. And we're bitching and moaning about losing championships.
And they have the Hornets, too.
Yeah, they stink. Like, they're horrible.
They got the Hornets also, which is terrible.
So we complain about certain things that I go, man, I get it. I wish we were winning championships and becoming dynasties. We shouldn't have so few championships in our lifetimes as a major market. I've seen Tampa have better success in sports than Philadelphia. Like, that should not be the case. But in terms of overall success, if we're putting championships aside, it's been pretty damn good in our entire lifetime. And I'm talking about Connor and I.
Sure, I did 2 decades in Atlanta, so I laugh when I hear people here talk about how bad it is.
Right.
Because, first of all, we don't have a 28-3.
Yeah.
We don't have the worst gag job ever in the history of pro sports.
I don't know, man. Like, see,
that's the worst ever in pro sports.
That's one game, but
but it's a championship.
I don't even have to go back a year to find the Phillies losing to a loser Diamondbacks team.
They did,
with the World Series on a silver platter.
Okay, but you wouldn't talk to the Atlanta fans about that.
I absolutely would.
No, because they've lived through that like 1, 2, 3, 4 years in a row.
Atlanta, screw Atlanta.
That's what I'm saying to you is
they're not the market that Philadelphia
but we're not. We are not that. We are very well off.
Okay.
Compared to other major markets, we're really well off.
We should be better off than Atlanta.
No, but we're very well off compared to other major markets, too. Detroit, we're talking longtime sports fans. We're better off than Chicago in the modern era. We're better off than Detroit. We're not better than Boston. We're not.
Yeah.
And the fact is, New York gets double the chances to win. So you can't even compare New York to that.
Chicago, if you look at all their sports, they have more championships in Andrew and I's lifetime than us. Detroit has more championships than Andrew and I's lifetime than us. Like, every other major market city pretty much has more championships in our lifetime than Philadelphia, which is BS considering the market we're in.
Yeah, now that I agree with you there.
And that's why this sky is always falling mentality. It's history. Whether you feel good about the team or not, history would tell you that 99% of the seasons you're going to watch are not ending with the championship.
So, but why do you lead with that? I'm not saying you specifically.
No, not you.
Like, but there are people that, again, I think about Marty saying stop talking about the division. Like, come on. It's 2-seed or 1-seed at this point.
Dude.
Don't be afraid of the division. And then we get the tweet from the Philly kid right after. That was his Twitter handle. Do you not remember what happened last year? Like,
we do. This team is nothing like last year.
It's not even close. And I would rather look at why they're not that team last year than let me find the reasons why they are the team from last year.
I don't understand fatalist mentality, Connor, in anything. And the thing is Connor arguing this point here. Connor is one of the most positive people I've ever known, let alone this. So, but in sports, is where you do tend to be a little more.
Well, I'm just cautious. I wouldn't say I'm negative. I don't.
You're not negative.
I don't lead
No,
with the
you are
negative
not
very
negative.
often at all.
No,
but
you are not.
I can understand why, if championship is the goal, and championship should be the goal here in Philadelphia. Like, we're not playing for moral victories, especially with this Philadelphia Eagles team. There is no NFC Championship game would be cool. We'd be comfortable with that output after last year, but there's no joking right now.
You know my Super Bowl preseason bet. My Super Bowl bet is 40-1 that I placed out in Vegas.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
I mean, they end up winning. They end up winning that. That's a really nice payout.
Dinner's
but
on
just
you.
But think of it this way: 40-1. That was the Flyers draft. Haley would know. Was the last weekend in June, I believe. So at that time, nobody was talking about the Eagles winning the Super Bowl.
No, nobody was.
Nobody. They were 40-1, and now they're 5-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they're in a
the
great
entire
spot.
talk. So that should have everybody going exactly what Andrew set up in the beginning. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it. Believe. I've seen it.
What have you
Believe.
seen?
You've seen
them
this
win
team.
football
You've seen
games.
this team answer every single challenge that they face.
Yeah, this team is nothing like last year.
No.
Right?
No.
Like
That's
nothing.
That's not the argument, though. We're not comparing this team to last year. We
No,
do
but
this with
people
other.
are.
People do that. People don't
But
get
that's-
too excited yet because of what happened
I
last
got
year.
you.
Don't you remember what happened?
But you can't look past that. Like, that's just the flavor of the month. Like, when that's the latest excuse. It happened with Phillies teams. It's happened with Flyers teams, with Sixers teams, pushing back to other things because we've seen great teams in this city and we rarely see championships.
Thing is, the Phillies are a team and a franchise that has not given you enough cachet in the bank to say, I believe in them, they're going to deliver.
And here's the thing.
Sixers never do. The Flyers haven't since I was a child where they've truly delivered. No, since I was a young adult, the Flyers have not truly delivered a top-quality product. They're trying to fix that. The Eagles have.
And the
For a
current
generation, the
regimes-
Eagles have.
The current regimes, if we're focusing on like this Phillies core, right? The fears that you had going into the playoffs have been the same fears in the recent years of this offense can get cold real fast, right? The Sixers fear, it's always the same. Is Embiid going to be healthy or not come playoff time? The fear with the Eagles, for whatever fear there is, what is it? Is it they could fall apart again?
No, it's
Like,
not
are-
the team.
What
It's
is
not
it?
rational. It's the city. It's being a Philadelphia sports fan. We have 2 championships in how many years?
Yeah, it's bad.
And how many great teams, like top of their sport teams, have existed in that time?
Tell me about your phones, the two of you.
What about
Tell
it?
me about
I got a little crack
your.
on mine.
Tell me about your.
too.
Exactly. Tell me about your friend text groups. Your group text. Like we have ours. Okay. Like if you have like friends that I text with, relatives that I text with, I think tend to be more negative than positive.
Mine are like almost entirely positive.
See, now that's really
You know what's
interesting
funny?
to me.
Mine are positive with my friends, but my dad during a game.
Oh gosh.
Bloop, 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 just nonstop. Like, this guy stinks. That guy stinks. Cut him. I'm like, Dad, they won 7 straight games. And then they win. Fly, Eagles, fly. Like, then I get the Fly, Eagles, fly
I
text
get
at the
that.
end
Oh,
of
nice,
the
we
game.
won.
I said it,
Yeah.
and I say it to me. It's somehow it skipped a generation in my family because my daughter sounds like my uncles and my father watching a game. If the first drive sucks,
It's game over.
it's Jalen again. Here
Right,
it goes
right,
again.
right.
Jalen can't hit it. Wide open, Dad. He's got to make that pass. She has that mentality, but she wasn't raised with that because that's not me. That's not me watching a game. I'm always like, patience.
Yeah.
Patience. Let's do this. You can say something sucks, but don't think the
Yeah,
sky's
don't say that
falling.
the game's all of a sudden over.
Oh, my gosh.
So those are our 2 topics to start today. What can we still learn about this Eagles team? We have
I
already,
bet you there's some good answers coming.
I'm sure. We have already said that they're in the NFC Championship game. Like, it's crazy. Like, we're like, all right, tell me when January 26th is here. Like, that's a month and a half from now. What can we still learn about this team, or what would you like them to still see tweak a little bit to improve? And I still think that's a hard question to answer because what do you want to say? You want Jalen Hurts to throw for more passing yards? Well, that means they're not going to be running the football as much, right? Like, I see this narrative against Jalen Hurts that, well, look at his passing yards per game. All right, well, that's because Saquon is having a season where he's going to come near Eric Dickerson's all-time rushing total. Like, what
What do you want them
right?
to do?
Like,
you know,
exactly.
You know what we should do? we should put my old partner Buck Ballou would say it all the time. There are 3 things that can happen with a pass. 2 of them are bad.
Yeah.
And so if you have a running game that's working and an offensive line that's working, do you say to yourself, much like when Nick Sirianni made the mistake
Against
in the
Falcons.
Falcon game,
Yep.
why take the one where there's 2 bad options?
Yeah.
Why do that?
Pretty simple
It makes
outlook
simple.
at view on it.
I
But
bet you we're going to have some interesting texts and emails and calls that are going to give us some reasons, and we may actually say, "Oh, I never thought about that."
all
one.
right, yeah, and that's why this show is a community. All right. Also, what makes you lead with the sky is falling mentality? Why do you do that? Why don't you lead with the positive or lead with the this is why it will happen in terms of success and not this is why it won't happen? 610-632-0975. Yesterday, Johnny, we were pretty critical of Nick Sirianni.
We were.
For the comments he made about overreactions. Today, we will give him praise.
Uh-oh.
Sound the alarms. Find out what Nick Sirianni is doing that makes a major difference week in and week out in our opinion, and some of it might be fertilizing. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Some good injury news for the Birds. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Bet Parks. Join Seth Joyner and D Gunn for the Bet Parks pre- and post-game shows live at Parks Casino for every Birds game. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. The Eagles got some good news on the injury report yesterday as Devontae Smith returned to full practice. That's a big asset for the offense to have as they prepare for their matchup with the Carolina Panthers. Darius Slay was also limited as he looks to return from concussion protocol. It might seem like an easier game Sunday against Carolina, and I'll tell you it is, but Nick Sirianni won't tell you that. He's not taking the Panthers lightly, as he said yesterday during his media availability.
I think that would be malpractice by us as coaches and as players if we were up for some games and not up for some games. We know that this is a talented team that is continuing to play good football.
Sure. Well, that's the right mentality, whether you believe it or not, about the Panthers. We also have a big Thursday night game tonight as the Lions host the Packers. A Lions loss and an Eagles win Sunday would jump the Eagles, at least for the time being, into the top spot in the NFC. The Sixers fell to the Magic 106-102 last night. The Flyers are back on the ice tonight against the Panthers after a 4-day layoff. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. You can hear that game live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update's also brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Mike Missanelli.
This team just keeps rolling.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. What can we still learn about this Eagles team, or what would you like to see them improve or tweak? You can text and call on 610-632-0975 because we already have them in the NFC Championship game, but we don't want to get lost that this team still plays 5 more regular season games. So let's not all of a sudden just close our eyes.
No.
You know, like there's still a lot that we can learn about this team, at least I think.
Well,
there's also things that they can improve on.
Now, you say 5 games left, and there are 5. I count. You are correct. You're good with your math this morning.
I'm mathing.
Connor's not as good with math. But it's the issue of this is that tonight means so much.
It absolutely does.
Because if Detroit were to lose tonight, then all 5 games become of utmost importance.
Yes.
If Detroit wins tonight, there's a really good chance that the last 2 games may not mean anything.
Right.
And then it changes your game plan. But I like your whole mentality this morning of there's still stuff that can be cleaned up, can be improved on, and there may be that nagging little thought in people's heads, especially with the negative ones.
Yeah, and look, the first quarter points is, I think, number 1.
That's a big problem.
Like, that's number 1. At some
32
point,
out of 32 makes no
at
sense.
some point, that's got to change. So what can we still learn about this team, or what can they improve upon? 610-632-0975. The other question, what makes you lead with the sky is falling mentality? If we say something positive about the Eagles, we typically get pushback. I go back to what we discussed before the season started, John. When we did W's and L's, well, Connor and I did that.
And then you tried to trick me into doing it.
I got you into 12 wins somehow.
Yeah.
People were like, "Oh, why are you guys so confident about this team? The defense is going to stink. This is going to be bad." I'm still not sure about Jalen Hurts. I'm not sure about Nick Sirianni.
And by the way, we're not mocking people who had that opinion because they had given you a lot of reason to think that could happen.
Right.
I just thought it could. I thought last year was a product of the coordinators. I also thought this defense would cap out the best at 12th best.
Right. Better than dead last or whatever they were last year.
I'm not acting like I'm Nostradamus here.
No.
I didn't see this coming.
But it was just weird because usually the evil Philly sports media is the negative.
Right,
at least that's what people portray radio hosts as, the negative people.
Sure.
Just yesterday we were critical of Nick Sirianni, and it's typical Philly sports media when we've been the ones that have been kind of the beacons of light when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Right, I don't get it. I don't get it. But it is, I understand, though. There are people out there. We're probably going to have a few that'll come up with some ideas about things that they still need to see.
Absolutely.
And if you still need to see something out of this team, like first quarter points, I would say to you that then you do. Now, it's interesting. You brought up the first quarter points. And from Twitter, Alan asking, do you believe the first quarter points issue with the Eagles is a problem of the Eagles are being, the other team is able to see and the Eagles are too predictable? Or the Eagles are trying to get too cute?
I can't say too predictable because I don't think anyone predicted Will Shipley getting a touch in the first drive of the game.
I think that's why my answer, and I told Alan, too cute.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles try to get too cute on their first couple possessions.
I honestly, 1st and 10, hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley. Try to stop us.
How about
that's my mentality.
How about Sunday? Every single time. This is just Kellen. I don't know if you're a big listener, but if you're listening, I would suggest exactly what Andrew said. You line up 1st and 10, and you say, "Can you stop us?"
I would literally say it. I would be Jalen Hurts. Hey, we're running in between the tackles here.
Remember?
Try to stop us.
Remember the Eagles offensive lineman saying that in 22?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna tush push again. You ready for it?
Yeah, you ready for
this?
We're
gonna run again. We're running at you again. Are you ready for it?
Yeah. Come on, get back to that.
I think 1st and 10 on Sunday. I would absolutely. I will get an edible arrangement with edibles in it.
Thank you.
For Nick Sirianni. If they 1st and 10. If they ran the ball every 1st and 10, like first 7 or 8 opportunities, I just want to see it. I'd love to see them say, you know what, we're not intimidated by you. We're going to run over you, and we're not going to wait till the 3rd and 4th quarter to run over you. We're going to start the game running over you.
You think Sirianni's a gummy guy?
Yes, I'm convinced.
I think he needs it to go to sleep, just like somebody I know.
I'm convinced.
I see him in the mirror.
But hey.
All right. So the other thing that we want to bring up. Because yesterday we were indeed critical of Nick Sirianni, at least the comments made by Sirianni toward the evil media about how we overreacted to the 2-2 start.
Yes.
Jeff McClain put out a tweet that you sent me yesterday, John, and it's something that we have talked about previously in this regular season, this
year.
But do you have the tweet in front of you? I do. If you want
Okay,
me to just
you
read
got it.
Here's what Jeff McClain tweeted yesterday around 5:30. Asked about Nick Sirianni having more practices and making them tougher, something that he really started in the spring and training camp. Lane Johnson said the Eagles are still having O-line, D-line one-on-ones. Hadn't heard that before. It's nowhere near the norm around the NFL this late into the season. Now, Jeff says the NFL, man, not even close to what the Eagles were doing last year.
So I took that tweet. I sent it to you guys.
Yes.
And then I checked in. Tried to check in with Mark Schlereth, checked in with some other people. Hey, how uncommon is this? And I was told maybe a handful of guys, and the Eagles will play some of them. Tomlin can pull this out of his hat. Both Harbaughs could pull this out of their hat.
So very successful head coaches.
But it is a handful of guys that do this. And I was told even probably Andy Reid at this point in the season probably would not.
Okay.
But during the year, absolutely would.
Right.
At some point.
And
that's best practices.
And I think about something from last year. I think about Jalen Hurts when clearly the Sirianni-Hurts disconnect had started.
Right.
I remember him saying to the media, if you can't keep practicing the same things and expect different results. And then all of a sudden, after that comment, they added something. Remember the drill where they put the boxing glove on the pole and they were trying to punch out the football because there was a lot of fumbling issues, including with the quarterback last year? That was really the only change that I remember seeing from the team last year. And every reporter that we ever spoke to, when I was doing middays, when you were doing mornings before this show started, every reporter said, yeah, practice was like 32 minutes today.
It was, and here's the thing. His locker room, Landon Dickerson, A.J. Brown, all the Georgia guys, all the Bama guys, they all came out of the SEC.
Where they practiced.
They practice like a bare knuckles bar room. They don't practice soft in the SEC.
No.
They don't have these walk-through practices and everybody just in shells, and they beat the crap out of each other. They will knock each other around. There used to be Bloody Tuesday.
Yeah.
On Saban's campus, Kirby Smart's campus, Bloody Tuesdays, where they would not put on the pads and knock each other around. These teams don't play it soft, and I think that a lot of the guys who came up got to the NFL and were like, this is how we practice?
And that's the thing. How
we practice light here?
So Sirianni doing the whole, when he was asked this year a couple of times about the identity, and it took him a while to, find an answer. At one point he said, our identity is being physical. And I remember him saying something last year about how physical and how tough that team is. Well, imagine there's some guys that can just turn it on, right? Game day.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden it's like, all right, let me snap in. But if 6 days a week, it's like, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. And then on Sunday, it's like, all right, I need you to man up. Sometimes you got to keep the same energy throughout a week. And this football team is a ground and pound football team.
Yep.
It's a physical defense led by, an older, snarky defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, who we all love, that fits perfectly in this city and with this team, especially with the Georgia Bulldogs, right?
Yes.
You need to sometimes keep the energy throughout the entire week. It might sound exhausting, but it might be easier to just keep that going than turning it off, turning it back on, turning it off, turning it back on.
We have no doubt that if Brandon Graham didn't practice till a Friday, if Lane Johnson didn't practice till a Friday, if Darius Slay didn't practice till a Friday, we have no issue thinking that Sunday afternoon they could just go, oh, game day.
Right.
I'm ready. But for these younger
You're talking about 12, 13,
Right.
14, 15-year vets.
This is a very young team and a really young defense, and they need to have that sense of urgency, even if it does risk, I don't want anybody to get hurt. They got to practice with a sense of urgency. And by the way, credit to Nick Sirianni.
Yes, credit to Nick Sirianni.
Because this is Nick Sirianni changing up his MO.
Changes mentality, changes culture a little bit.
Love it.
I do too.
I think it's great.
This is beautiful. Now just start practicing in the preseason a little bit more, and you won't come out the gate slow. And then
that might be an idea.
And then you'd be the one seed in the NFC right now. We don't have to go that far back.
Look, the last thing Philly fans want to hear is ramp up. It's a two bad words right now.
Yeah,
in this
the
city.
ramp-up period
the ramp up.
is something.
I know. No, yesterday it was beginning again.
I know. I saw.
It's amazing.
So coming up next, we will touch on the Sixers because Connor and I were in attendance yesterday. I am very disappointed.
I wish one of you had dressed.
Well, I'm disappointed in somebody who did not dress yesterday. We will talk about that coming up next. Also, hear from Jalen Hurts because Jalen Hurts talked about the advantage of practicing in pads throughout the week. The quarterback, the guy with the red jersey on. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Bill Colarulo. He is a very good coach. He's an extremely...
Sports on Kincade Salciunas. I hope you're enjoying your Thursday morning here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Going to talk about Paul George in a couple of moments, and we'll check our text line. But last segment, we were talking about Nick Sirianni and giving him praise for the continued physical practices that we have seen, the continuation of physical practices. And let's be honest, like, remember we spoke with Jeff McClain a few weeks ago about that, and he said, I still wouldn't say that it's like physical. It's more so in comparison to what we're accustomed to nowadays. So it's not like
that's fair, right?
They're not running Oklahoma drills, but they're also not just doing 30-minute walkthroughs 4 days a week
In shells.
like they were doing last year. This year, they're actually doing pads. They're doing practices, one-on-one drills, as Lane Johnson said.
Why do you think that
between O-lineman and D-lineman? Because they may have realized that they were I'm not saying weak in terms of they're not strong. They could all kick my ass. They were a weak football team last year.
Take it one step further. Vic Fangio.
Vic Fangio. I was going to also say that.
Vic Fangio was not going to come in here and have a defense that was like, okay, boys, today we're going to do some classroom, and we're just going to practice in shells.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to be physical on Sunday afternoon when we need you to be. Vic Fangio's like, the hell with that.
Well, if you remember, they were one of the worst tackling teams
Oh, my
in the
God.
NFL last
And by the
year.
way, are they not one of the best this year?
I saw Cooper DeJean pile drive Derrick Henry.
And I'm not even just talking about that one highlight.
No,
I mean,
but
that's a great.
yeah.
But they are so good in open field tackling.
Yeah.
And they were so wretched at it. By the way, I think most of the administration of Nick Sirianni, they were bad at open field tackling.
Well, they're practicing legitimately now, and
Yes.
maybe that's helped them a little bit.
You can't do it in a classroom.
No.
You can't watch somebody do something and then say, okay, Sunday afternoon, that's what's going to
you got
happen.
to do that. No, you got to actually
You got to
practice it.
rep. It's one of the reasons my golf game isn't as good.
Well, Jalen Hurts talked about the advantage of pads. Here's a little back and forth he had with some of the members of the Eagles media.
I was just talking to Jack Driscoll, and he said, pads feels like have gone on more on Wednesdays this year. And if so, what kind of advantage does that give you guys, do you feel like?
Well, you think it gives you an advantage physically just from a standpoint of having more reps in pad.
And do you feel like things have been a little bit different? I guess after the game on Monday, Nick talked about Monday working, and you've never been a guy adverse to work. Do you feel like there's more of that?
I think it's relative, line getting the work that they need, defensive line being able to get some of the, pass rush and work their technique, and then being able to fit certain tackles in your pads. So I know that's big for them.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's pretty simple.
This
I
is not,
understand,
yes.
hey, best of ability is availability and wanting to be healthy. And look, the NFL is a physical sport, so it's easy for a guy sitting in a radio chair here saying, man, I wish my team would practice a little bit harder when I'm not the one that's getting lit up on Sundays and then throughout the week now. But it's almost kind of simple to say, yeah, but you know what? If you keep on practicing physically, you might keep that mentality, that energy going into a game. Not everybody can just turn it right back on.
And here's one of the old, the back in my day things.
Yeah.
But the NFL players used to practice 10 times harder from training camp through the entire year. Incredibly harder. And what the NFLPA does, every time that they have a negotiation, one of their primary goals is every year to get less time in practice.
Right.
Less time in the offseason in practice. Less time in pads. They legislate this. That's what they care about. That's what they put as their top priority. So it's the mentality comes a lot of times right from the players.
From the players themselves.
It does. It's what they want. That's what they negotiate.
And if I sat down at the boss's table right now, one of the first things I'd argue is more PTO. Like, that's natural to kind of get away from.
No.
I understand
but this
that.
is the work day. Would you go into the boss's office and say, I would like to show up for work at 5:45?
I wouldn't be mad at it.
That was me yesterday.
But the thing is, though, Connor, I know you, and you're full of it. You wouldn't.
No,
because you
listen.
couldn't start a show unless you had everything in order, everything the way that you want it.
Yeah, but
I've seen you panic before.
No, I got you, but I'm not panic. I just like my things ready
Correct,
before the show starts.
Because that's your work ethic.
If you can get the job done that way, and that's where the ultimate thing is. There has to be a balance.
But they can't.
The whole back in my day, they used to practice harder.
Well, no, and there is a balance. That's why Jeff McClain says, look, physical practices today are not the physical practices from 10 years ago.
And they shouldn't be.
But physical practices today, some teams don't. It doesn't even exist.
Right.
Like
Correct.
it's like what the Eagles did last year. I think is more of the norm in the NFL. The quick practices where you're just doing walkthroughs.
See, now I would tell you that it was the easy. I can tell you this: they were in the least the least practice time going into 2023 of any team during training camp.
Right, I do know that was actually
and they were also not
real.
They were practicing very, very laissez-faire.
Yeah.
That wasn't a big deal.
And maybe part of it was because they played in the Super Bowl. Who knows?
And it showed in how they played.
Yeah. All right. So one thing real quick. In the 7 o'clock hour, we'll reset our topics. In the 7 o'clock hour, we'll get to our text line at 610-632-0975. I don't want to say that I'm disappointed in this individual because I don't know if he decided not to play or if this was the team doctors not allowing him to play. But Paul George, you got a max contract, man. Him not playing yesterday is damn near criminal. I understand he just came off of the knee injury, and I understand that he played 2 nights ago, and yesterday was the second game of a back-to-back. And the plan is to not have these guys playing back-to-backs, specifically Paul George and Joel Embiid. At what point, and I know we've already talked about it, but at what point do the Sixers say, all right, we need to be a little bit more urgent? Because it's great that you won 2 nights ago. You got win number 5 on the season.
What are they now, 5-15?
You got handed your 15th loss yesterday. You also played a team coming off of a back-to-back. I picked the Sixers to win yesterday at the end of the show.
Yes.
And they had every chance to. It came to the very end of the game, and they ended up losing by 4. If Paul George plays in yesterday's game,
they win.
They probably win that game.
No, they win.
And they improve to 6-14, not 6-6. 6-14. You're 5-15 this year.
It's terrible.
And it seems like they're still just kind of like, no, we're fine.
Oh no, it'll be fine. You know, it's early.
And I don't hear fans saying that as much anymore.
No, because
the team is saying that.
I'm glad because I think the fan base is wised up. It's not early. You are digging yourself a hole that pretty much is guaranteeing you right now. It's pretty much guaranteeing you play-in tournament is the high water mark.
Yeah, and then you're playing
7 seed through the 10 seed.
And you're playing Cleveland or Boston in the first round. And is that good for you?
No, it's not. What are you load managing for? When you load management for the playoffs. That's ridiculous.
A playoff run that you hope is long, not
correct.
First round exit.
Man,
Donna, when it came out, it was right after the show yesterday when it came out that Paul George wasn't playing. I was like, are you kidding me, dude? Like, this is the second game. I get it. Second game of back-to-back. You're 4-14. If you were 500, okay, fine. You're now 10 games under 500. Again. All right, coming up next, 7 o'clock hour is ahead. We reset today's topics. And also, we've talked about there being no more tests for the Eagles when it comes to opposing quarterbacks. John, what do you think people say about Jalen Hurts, the opposing teams? It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Devontae back at practice. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update's brought to you by PayPal. Get exclusive cashback offers in the app, and with the PayPal debit card, stack 5% more in your chosen monthly category on up to $1,000 in purchases. Don't just pay, PayPal. The Eagles got some good injury news yesterday as Devontae Smith returned to full practice for the first time since we saw him on that injury report a couple weeks ago with a hamstring issue. So it seems like he'll be ready to go against the Carolina Panthers this Sunday. Darius Slay was also limited as he looks to make his return from concussion protocol. It might seem like an easier game on Sunday against the Carolina Panthers, but Nick Sirianni met with media yesterday and talked about how the team needs to get up for every game, not just the tougher opponents.
I think that would be malpractice by us as coaches and as players if we were up for some games and not up for some games. We know that this is a talented team that is continuing to play good football.
If you say so, Nick, whatever they're going to say about the Panthers, we know that they're not the world's best opponent, but that's the mentality the team should have, and it's good to see them not taking anyone lightly. We have a big Thursday night game tonight as well as the Lions host the Packers. A Lions loss and an Eagles win on Sunday would jump the Eagles into the top spot in the NFC for the time being. The Sixers fell to the Magic 106-102 last night. That is ending a 2-game win streak for the Sixers. The Flyers back on the ice tonight against the Panthers at 7 p.m. You can hear that game on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update's also brought to you by Groundworks, your expert for basement waterproofing and foundation repair since 1997. Book your free inspection at groundworks.com. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
ESPN's Adam Schefter.
Even though the Lions look like the best team, the Eagles have undeniably and unmistakably closed ground on them and maybe even overtaken them.
The premier NFL insider.
Right now, they're playing at the highest level of any team in the league. And as long as they keep playing like that and stay healthy, they're going to have a real chance to have the kind of season that they want.
Every Wednesday at 8 with Kincade and Salciunas. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-242-6979. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-242-6979 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-242-6979 to see if you qualify. That's 800-242-6979.
Hey, it's Cuz reminding you every weekend my team at the Bet Parks Sportsbook Online Casino presents Double the Spread. Yes, double the spread. Bet Parks picks one pro football game every weekend and lets you double the spread. This great offer is for all Bet Parks users. The Bet Parks Sportsbook app lets you double the spread every weekend. BetParks.com is terms and conditions. Double the spread. Double the spread. There's always another way to win on the BetParks app. Got to be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Ohio, Michigan, Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Guys, this is Dr. Avidan Appel with Iron Mountain Men's Health. There's nothing you can say or experience that I have not heard, seen, or treated. Before scheduling a free consult, visit my website and ask me anything at any time. And when you're ready, I'm here for your free consultation. Understand that ED and low T are a choice, not a diagnosis. I will help you through the soft times. Iron Mountain Men's Health specializes in personalized treatment plans for your peak performance. Visit ironmountainmenshealth.com, the leader in men's health.
This is Jordan Lundy of Lundy Law. We hope you're never involved in an accident, but if you are injured in an accident, we'll get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Remember our name, Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Eagles game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Eagles watching. Better with Pepsi.
Ring in 2025 at Xfinity Live, Philly's hottest New Year's Eve party. Your ticket includes a premium food and beverage package, live performance by Go-Go Gadget, exclusive access to 4 venues with multiple DJs, karaoke, silent disco, bull riding, 360 photo booth, midnight celebration, and more. VIP table upgrades are available and include a designated server, bottle service, and access to Xfinity Live's private mezzanine level. The party kicks off at 7 p.m. Tickets will go fast and prices increase before New Year's Eve. Get yours now at XfinityLive.com.
When breaking sports news happens in Philly, we have you covered. Live updates, press conferences, insight, perspective, and your reaction. This is 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. WPEN and WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia. A Beasley Media.
On Kincade Salciunas on this Thursday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic. Coming up in this segment, we're going to get into a conversation about Jalen Hurts, but we're going to try to put our minds in the heads of opposing fan bases or opposing coaching staffs and how they look at Jalen Hurts. And I wonder how it compares the way we look at certain players that the Eagles will be facing. Now, that brings us to our main topic today that we started with about what we can still learn from this Eagles team, or what we would like to see them still improve on. Because we, at this point, I think are majority on the same page that the Eagles are destined for the NFC Championship game. The question is whether or not it's in Detroit and Philadelphia. And tonight, obviously, is a big game for where the NFC Championship game could be played because the Lions are playing the Packers.
You got to watch. We have to watch the Lions at least the next 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You have homework. You have to watch the Lions tonight. You got to watch the Lions play the Bills. And if the Lions lose tonight, the door's wide open for you. There is no controlling destiny, but the path is clear. Win out, top seed. You got 2 games in South Philly to go to the Super Bowl.
Right, and that starts,
which is wild.
That starts tonight.
You got to watch this game tonight. This is going to be a big one tonight.
This game is more interesting than the Eagles game Sunday, dare I say?
I don't blame you. No, you're right.
Well, it's more of a huge impact game to their chances.
Like the Eagles aren't losing Sunday. I'll just tell you that now.
They're not either.
If the Lions lose tonight, I believe then the city starts to go, oh my gosh, like this is incredible. Everything is lining up for them. And by the way, the amount of players the Lions have on IR.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of players that are banged up.
It's wild. I mean, no, but gone. They're gone though. A lot of them are gone and they're never coming back. It's
not this year.
Yeah,
maybe at some point in the future.
No, but I'm just saying is that it's pretty wild to think the door's wide open for the Eagles to get to New Orleans.
Yeah. Now it's funny. So main topic: what can we still learn about this team? What can they improve on? And one of the reasons why we asked the question, what can we still learn about this team? We talked about how there's no more tests when it comes to the quarterback position moving forward. And some may say, with teams, obviously the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is no joke.
That is going to be a test.
And that will be an interesting test for the offense. Our second question today is what makes you lead with the sky is falling mentality. So our man B. Gunn put out this tweet of our main topic today, the video.
Okay.
The Eagles passed their biggest test of the regular season this past Sunday with a big win against the Ravens, and sights are set on the Carolina Panthers. We have a question. What can we still learn about this team? And right away, Bill.
What do you got?
Bill responds, apparently these guys haven't watched the Steelers lately.
What?
And it's like, I get it, dude, but I'm not worried about, the Steelers game.
I'm not worried about the Steelers game.
I'm not worried about a game the rest of the year. I'm thinking about NFC Championship game. I'm thinking about what can they do to improve the little things that they needed to improve on leading up to the NFC Championship game. This guy almost makes it seem like, man, that Steelers game, it's like the next kick the can. I'm going to learn more about the Steelers game because the Ravens are actually frauds.
Right,
we heard about the Commanders. When the Eagles beat the Commanders, all of a sudden people started saying that the Commanders were frauds, right? Well, that win wasn't that impressive. The Commanders are frauds. I need to see them do it against the Rams. Then they did it against the Rams. Well, hold on. Let me see it against a mobile quarterback in Lamar. They do it against Lamar. Now I got this guy saying I got to see him do it against the Steelers.
No, that's not what he's saying.
What is he saying?
So let's just clarify. What we're saying is not that the Steelers game is going to be easy. The Eagles are going to smoke them. And that's how some people may take this is you don't play a quality opponent the rest of the way. What we're saying is even when you play the Steelers, who are a good football team, you're not really learning anything more about the Eagles that you don't already know.
No, I mean it could very well be a Super Bowl preview.
Right. And I think
that's something to, I guess, look for. Could be. I don't think the Ravens are going to the Super Bowl, but that's sort of how I looked at last week going, if you went to the Super Bowl, how do you stack up?
Right. Like the Eagles have checked all the boxes they need to check. It says nothing about the Steelers as an opponent. We just know enough about the Eagles looking at our own team.
Right. I don't think the Steelers game will make me learn anything different about this team.
Right. And that's not the weakness of the opponent.
The only thing that I can learn from maybe the Eagles offense is in the times when Jalen has to drop back to pass against a staunch pass rush. Right. I mean, the Steelers pass rush is one of the best in the NFL. I don't think they would face a team in the NFC leading up to the Super Bowl that would have that great of a pass rush, but I'll be able to say, all right, how is he handling pressure, not just blitz on the edge, right? Because TJ Watt's it's not a blitz. He's not calling out blitz protections. No, TJ Watt's trying to come and take your head off.
And how you say it, though, is interesting. And I heard you guys talk about this again on the Star-Studded pregame show, which was really good.
It is Star-Studded thanks to Bill and Connor.
It was
2
very
stars,
good.
1 stud.
Yep.
And it was, I'm listening to you guys at some point.
Someone say dud.
And I think Connor made the point that, we're talking so much about the Ravens. What do you think they're talking about the Eagles? Connor's like, the Ravens are the team with 4 losses.
Yeah.
The Eagles are the team with 2 losses. What are the Ravens saying about having to play the Eagles? And I think we do that too much. We think of, what do the Eagles have they're facing this week? Oh, my gosh. Whereas, look, the Steelers will come in next week and face the Eagles.
Right.
It's that we put too much on, well, our team has to prove them something. And again, by the way, the other day in Detroit, interesting. Their poll came in at 57%. Lions fans saying, yes, we can defiantly say we're still the best team in the NFC. They're even feeling it. They know it.
Close, yeah.
And by the way, and they know it in Detroit. They know we're coming. We know it's close.
Well, and that goes back to one of the conversations what you just mentioned. We look so much at the Eagles. How come we never say that the Lions could slip up? How come we never say that the Lions could lose a game? It's only the Eagles can lose a game, and no other team can have a rough week.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Lions lose tonight, and their stranglehold on the number 1 seed, their path is not there. They need help to get the number 1 seed. Who knows that they don't potentially have, with all the injuries and everything, a little crisis of confidence.
John, I was just about to say, not a collapse of the level of what the Eagles had yesterday, because I do believe there is a mentality with that team. It's still going to be the physical run the football kind of thing that they've been doing so successfully. But, yeah, if they lose
a little crisis of confidence, then they play the Bills next week.
Yeah, and they hear all the noise, and they also look, Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
3 weeks ago in one game.
That happened. They know that happened.
In 48 minutes of game time, Jared Goff threw as many interceptions as Jalen Hurts has thrown all year.
Right.
In 12 games.
Right. So they know it.
I mean, come on. They know it. They know that seed is there.
Yeah, and the injuries are piling up on all that kind of stuff. And it takes one guy dinged up, not that anybody's rooting for it. It takes one guy dinged up
and
on that
we don't
offense.
want that, right.
Like if Jahmyr Gibbs, they run the football all the time. We talk man, should we start getting worried about Saquon's carries? What about their guys?
Oh my God,
that's all they do.
Yeah, but they have
two. But
they have two elite backs, so their load management is better.
Right, because they're able to.
Their load management is far better.
But it could take one dinged up hit, and all of a sudden you go, all right, now all of a sudden they lose that big piece. That can happen to absolutely any team. Now, speaking of looking at us, how do you think people view Jalen Hurts from the outside? We live it every single day. We know that he had a rough start to the season with the turnovers.
He did.
We know that since the meeting of the minds of Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, and Lane Johnson with Nick Sirianni,
the shakedown of the head coach,
it's been a run-first offense, and so Jalen Hurts has not had to attempt as many passes. But we see that when he does throw the football, they're not bad throws in terms of whether or not they could be intercepted. I think he's only had 2 turnover-worthy throws since the bye week.
Since the bye week.
The one was an interception.
2 statistical throws that he's made that were one was the pickoff in the Dallas game, and one other ball put at risk.
And that I love that.
So do I.
I love how clean he's been with the football, how smart he's been with the football. Again, we're pro game managers, on this show. But I wonder if a fan, let's start with the fans on the other side, right? If you're a Panthers fan, you're looking at, let me see what Jalen Hurts has been doing this year. Wait, he only threw for 118 yards last week? He only threw for 179 the week before that. 221 against the Commanders, but 0 touchdowns. 202 against that bad Cowboys team.
You know who criticizes Jalen Hurts?
People that don't know it.
The fantasy football people.
No.
Oh, no, they do not.
No. About passing yardage.
Yeah, but rushing touchdowns,
yardage,
baby.
he does.
The greatest.
Dude, there's a reason why my fantasy team's doing well this year.
And but they know that he doesn't pass the ball there. He's getting his numbers are very comparable to the other top quarterbacks in the game. But I can tell you this: south of the Mason-Dixon line, so go down where Connor went to college and below, Jalen Hurts is held in much higher regard than he is above it. Because these people watched this guy ball out in college, and a lot of people up here did not, and they look at him as a winner down there.
Well, and that's what
he is looked upon as a winner. He's looked upon as a tough player.
Yeah,
and more importantly, all the stuff that he could do to you causes the defense to have so many more worries than what he actually does to you.
Right. If you just do the quick Google Jalen Hurts stats, they show completion percentage, yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and rating. They don't show rushing yards. They don't show
rushing touchdowns,
right? They don't show any of that kind of stuff. Just a quick Google search, Jalen Hurts stats, because he's a quarterback, they're going to show you the bare minimum quarterback stats. of throwing the football. They don't show you everything else.
I think unlike Jared Goff, unlike Josh Allen, unlike Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes may be the one he's the cheat code, as Connor would say. But for most big quarterbacks, I think people worry about more of the potential of what defensive coordinators are going, oh, God, we got Saquon and Jalen back there.
Yeah.
And those wide receivers and that tight end. What the hell are they going to go to? Whereas with Jared Goff, with a lot of these quarterbacks it's not going to be a design run. It's not going to be a lot of RPO.
Right.
It's not going to be – the Eagles are tough to defend, and it begins and ends with Jalen.
Absolutely.
It honestly does.
Wow.
Because the guy who has the ball in his hand, every single play, is the one that creates all the mismanagement of, well, where do we put our resources?
You say that and you're right, but I don't think the perspective nationally on this Eagles team is that it begins and ends with Jalen Hurts.
No, they're going to say Saquon.
Exactly. And you look at any of those other teams you just named. The Chiefs, the first guy you talk about is Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
The Lions, they have a great rushing attack. The first guy you talk about is Jared Goff. Like, you look at any of these top-tier teams, the Bills, Josh Allen, any of the Ravens, they have Derrick Henry, and you'll say, and Derrick Henry, but it's always Lamar Jackson first. And if you look at this Philadelphia Eagles team, the first name out of everybody's mouth is Saquon Barkley.
And I would tell you, though, that's a great thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. Because I would say to you, if the Detroit Lions are staring us in the face with the trip to the Super Bowl, and the number one name we're talking about all week is Jared Goff, makes you feel pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would think so.
Makes you feel pretty good. Is that it's a good thing if people are not talking about your quarterback first, because it means the resources, what can Jalen potentially do to you, makes all the wide receivers and the running game more effective.
Right. I got you. But this is why I think people still get a little uncomfortable with the ceiling of this team. And not like majorly.
Uncomfortable, right.
But just like this little voice in the back of their head. And I have it too. When I talk about the quarterbacks winning championships, who's the guy that you see hoist the MVP trophy every year for the NFL season? It's a quarterback.
Right.
Who's the guy that you most often see in the Super Bowl lifting that MVP trophy or touching the Lombardi first? It's the quarterback. And when you have a team, and Saquon Barkley's having an amazing year. Like, this is not a bad thing for Jalen Hurts. But when you have a team where that guy's a running back, it feels unnatural based on what we've watched in the NFL over the last decade.
Well, and there are statistics to back that up that we'll give you coming up around 7:30 because Bill Colarulo put down another fence post yesterday.
No, he did.
He did.
He didn't do the trap game thing, did he?
No. It was even bigger. I will tell you about that coming up at 7:30.
Billy the C.
But before we get to that, let's get to some text. But I do want to play one clip for you. Here was Tim McManus yesterday on with the best show ever. And it was just this conversation you were just mentioning about south of the Mason-Dixon line, what people think about Jalen Hurts because
Absolutely.
that guy is just a winner. Here's Tim McManus talking about Hurts focusing on winning and not stats.
I think he's doing what it takes. I mean, just look at the evidence and the fact that they've rattled off 8 straight. During the bye week, they identified what the strength of this group is, and that's the offensive line, and that's Saquon Barkley, and they're riding that. Players have gotten behind that idea, like even Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, who obviously want the ball. The way that Smith put it last week is like, yeah, you have Superman back there, like you can't complain. And so there's been a collective buy-in, and I think that includes from the quarterback. The big stat that you look at is the fact that he had those 7 turnovers over the first 4 weeks. So to see that is shot all the way down to where he's hardly turning the ball over at all now. He is throwing the ball away when he doesn't like the look. It's kind of like a live to play another down. It's been conducive to winning, clearly. You know, there still can be a conversation about where is this pass game at, and will there be a point in time where they face an opponent, maybe it's not to the postseason, maybe it's not to the NFC Championship, maybe it's not to the Super Bowl, when it's got to go on Hurts' shoulders and that passing game's shoulders. Is it up for that test?
And I believe that it can be, and I think what people are still hesitant is because they haven't seen it yet this year. They haven't really had to rely on his arm to win games this season.
Except Green Bay.
Yeah.
Week 1.
Long time ago.
Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown.
Long time ago.
I mean, they really did.
Not karaoke at Garage.
They did a beautiful job in the passing game week 1 against Green Bay, a team you might face later this year. And it was a great 1-2 punch. Saquon had a really nice game. But remember, he hit Saquon. His first touchdown as an Eagle was a passing touchdown.
Yeah, that's right.
And then that wide open where A.J. Brown just literally torched through the secondary of the Packers.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And so I've seen him win a game with his arm.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter, and third quarter, and fourth quarter against the Packers opening week.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's a long memory.
Yeah, a long time ago.
I'm not concerned that he can throw the ball to win games. I really am not.
Especially when you have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
Yeah, that's
coming
part
back.
of it. And that's part of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, A.J. Brown, it just works every single time. And I love what Tim mentioned in the clip there. Like, he's being smart. He's throwing the ball away when the play's not there. It's great seeing Patrick Mahomes highlights when he's basically a shortstop diving or doing the Derek Jeter jump throw.
Right.
That's great and all. But he's Patrick Mahomes. Like, not many guys can do that, or do I want them to try it? I saw Carson Wentz try to do that. And what happened?
Derek once, he says, as long as you're requesting Saquon on 1st and 10s, he said, I would like to request the A.J. Brown slant every quarter twice.
I agree. It's unstoppable. It's unstoppable.
But the thing is then, when someone can't stop something and you stop going to it, what are you doing? You're trying to get too cute.
Could be.
Honestly, you're trying to get too cute.
I go back to
if it's unstoppable.
Well, it's not truly unstoppable.
Okay, well, that's the key. Is guess what? I want to watch them stop it.
I would like to see it more
before I
often.
stop doing it. I want to watch you stop it.
The problem is jumping that route and taking it to the house. It only takes stopping it one time to be 6 points the other way.
But I will say, I go back to the nonsense of last year that he couldn't throw over the middle of the field.
Oh, come on, stop.
That was one of the dumbest.
That was one of the dumbest.
Whoever it was, Sirianni or Brian Johnson, whoever's decision it was to not throw over the middle of the field.
I think it was both of them.
That was one of the dumbest things because I saw statistics last year of when he did throw over the middle of the field, how successful he was at it. And now this year, and you're starting to see it a little bit more in recent weeks now that the running game has opened up more in the passing game, he throws over the middle of the field just fine.
It's a coaching preference, I think, more than a deficiency of Jalen Hurts. Jalen's proven that.
Yeah, Jalen can't do it. No, they didn't let him do it.
They won't do it. Right.
And now he's doing it, and look, it's successful. All right, what do we have on the text line, Connor? You can text the show. You can call on the show, 610-632-0975. What can we still learn about this Eagles team, even though a lot of us are kind of closing our eyes and just hoping to be woken up come NFC Championships Sunday?
Yeah, it's a Sunday. Don't miss the pregame show. Don't be late.
And
you're all working.
What makes you lead with the skies falling mentality? A lot of you do it. Why? What do we got, Con?
Blaine in Kentucky checks in on that conversation we were just having. And he says, we need to find out whether or not the passing game can carry this team to a win. When the opponent stifles the run game, I think we can get this answer against Pittsburgh because of the way that their defense is going to try and shut down Saquon. And it'll be up to Hurts and the passing game to move the ball and put up points. I want to see them have that game.
Do you, other than the Steelers, is there really any team you're concerned about being able to stifle their run game?
Well,
I mean, other than the Steelers, if you go, then even if you look towards the NFL playoffs, the NFC, before we would get to a Super Bowl matchup, because I don't watch the Bills close enough or even the Chiefs games close enough to go, yeah, well, let's look at how that Eagles running game is going to do. But in the NFC, I'm not looking at any of those defenses going, oh, they're not going to be able to run the ball. I watched the Bears run the ball on the Lions.
Last week, the Ravens, leading up to that game, Bill brought up the yards per carry. Only 3.3 yards per carry for running backs against the Ravens this year.
And?
Saquon Barkley rushed for over 100.
Correct.
Yeah, but
and they had not let up 65, right? They had not let up anybody over 62 or 65.
Like that, yeah.
And then Saquon goes for the 100.
So the Vikings have the second best yards per carry allowed in the NFL. So that could be a team that you see.
That could be a team you play. And you could see them in South Philly in January. And despite what the Thomases will think is a family, not Connor. That I already know the ending. I don't want to spoil it for them. I've watched on Netflix already.
Yeah, they're not coming into the Lincoln winning that game.
I've already watched
That's
them.
definitely not happening.
But Eagles fans are buying perishables just in case the world ends. And it's okay to be prepared.
That's the leading with the negative mentality.
No, it's
Why?
not. That's being prepared.
That's negative.
That doesn't kill you. They're not wasting their life savings on it.
Yeah.
That's
it. Well, coming up next, I mentioned Bill Colarulo putting another post.
He's got a lot to say.
He put another fence post down for Bill Colarulo, B&C Fencing. Bill and Connor Fencing. It's not wrong what he put out there, but I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll look at the statistics.
That's quite the endorsement.
Of running first teams in the playoffs. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Preparing for the Panthers. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Veterans exposed to toxins while serving at home or abroad may be eligible for VA care and disability payments. Apply now at choose.va.gov. The Eagles, well, they're starting to turn their attention to the Carolina Panthers. Only a couple of days till game day. Man, is it Thursday already? And they got some good news on the injury report yesterday as Devontae Smith returned to full practice after missing the past 2 weeks with a hamstring injury. Darius Slay, who missed last week's game with a concussion, was also limited, so looks like he's on his way to returning. And it might seem like an easier game on Sunday against the Carolina Panthers, not being one of the top teams in the NFL. And that's to put it lightly, but Nick Sirianni is not taking the Panthers lightly, and he says the team isn't either.
I think that would be malpractice by us as coaches and as players if we were up for some games and not up for some games. We know that this is a talented team that is continuing to play good football.
And so they'll be focused on the Panthers. But us as Eagles fans, we got a game to focus on tonight. A huge Thursday night game for playoff implications for the Birds as the Lions host the Packers. A Lions loss and an Eagles win Sunday would jump the Eagles into the top spot in the NFC, at least for the time being. The Sixers fell to the Magic 106-102 last night, ending their 2-game win streak. The Flyers are back on the ice against the Panthers tonight after a 4-day layoff. The Florida Panthers. That is 7 p.m. on 97.5 The Fanatic. You can hear that game. I'm Connor Thomas for the home, the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The latest, probably a hot take comment made by a national media member. This happened yesterday. I'm just seeing it now, and it's about Nick Sirianni. I will tell you about that coming up in a few minutes. I get where the guy's going, but we don't have to go too far. And unfortunately, that might be today's business, where everybody has to go just one step too far when it comes to their take.
Oh, I haven't seen it. COTY?
Huh?
Coach of the year?
Oh, no, the opposite. We'll discuss.
What?
So we'll talk about it. First, so Bill Colarulo yesterday put another fence in the post. Now, Bill, as we all know, has been talking about the Eagles being Super Bowl contenders for a couple of weeks now, right?
Oh, I'm glad to see he's on the board.
He reached John Kincade.
Now, it was only in July that I'm glad everybody's on board. We got space for you.
Yep, of course.
Well, guess what, though? He's in the back on the bench seating, like the bench seats. You guys have the seats with the recliner.
Yeah, back of the bus is cool kid territory.
Yeah, but
bro.
we got recline seats.
You go over the speed bump.
You got the recline seats.
We got
and
recline
stuff.
seats.
I don't want it. I want the metal seatbelts that are going to knock me out.
No. You just sit there. It's beautiful.
Seatbelts,
the recline seatbelt's great.
So Bill puts this tweet out. Now, again, let's make it clear. He thinks the Eagles are a dangerous football team.
Oh, that's kind of him. You mean it? Whoa. Bill really going out for it all. I mean, he's really going out on a ledge.
But he also does this where he puts out like stats where it would be the opposite.
Oh, I told you. Remember I told you?
So, the Philadelphia Eagles are 28th in passing. Is that formula sustainable to win a Super Bowl? Which has been a conversation that we've talked about a couple of times on this show. Of the last 15 Super Bowl winners,
okay,
14 of the 15 teams had top 15 passing offenses. So he's not saying, top 5, but top 15. The Eagles, of course, are 28th. 11 of those 15 were in the top 10. 0 of 15 led the league in rushing. In 2013, the Seahawks, who were 26th in passing, were the only team that was not in the top 15 over the last 15 Super Bowl
And
winners.
they won the Super Bowl by 40 points, I believe.
Yeah, the defense balled out.
And Denver, I was thinking that Denver might have been the other team.
In that Super Bowl?
No.
Yeah.
The Denver Super Bowl winner. May have been
Manning was on that team.
Yeah, but Manning was cooked.
He still threw for a boatload of yards.
Because it was bad.
No,
they were just 20-mile-an-hour lob passes, but he threw for like $4,000, I think.
But no, 14 of the 15 teams over the last 15 years had a top 15 passing offense. And again, the Eagles are 28th. So it goes back to the question of, is this sustainable? Now, those numbers would tell you no, but we were kind of talking about this off the air.
Right.
If you look at the other teams that are competing right now, at least in the NFC, they're all run first. The Eagles, I'll start with the 1 seed, the Lions with Gibbs and Montgomery, the 2 seed Eagles with Saquon Barkley. Forget the 3 and 4th seeds, all right? Forget the winner of the NFC South and the winner of the NFC West, all right?
Can't do that.
But then you go to the wild card teams. The Minnesota Vikings, kind of more balanced, I would say. And they have Justin Jefferson, so they're going to throw the football. And then the Packers, as much love as there is for Jordan Love from people in the national media, that's Josh Jacobs has been a focal point of that offense. And then the Commanders with their tandem.
It's a different era. And the thing is, every season sort of encapsulates into numbers. When I hear people criticizing Jalen Hurts, and if you just took the time to look at the numbers for Jared Goff, Josh Allen's numbers and Jalen Hurts' numbers, total touchdowns, passing yards.
Right.
I mean, I think it's weird is that we're so self-critical of our team, and we don't look and go, hey, it's different.
Yeah, but Josh Allen's doing it with far less.
Oh, he is.
Which is why.
Josh Allen, what he does reminds me of Wentz.
That 2018 year.
What Wentz was accomplishing.
2019.
Just to an even higher level.
Yeah. Now, we got a text from Sean from PST, my softball team, and he keeps bugging me about
Sean.
this.
How are you?
Hello, Sean.
Because he worries about Hurts' ceiling as well. And he sent me the breakdown of passing yards by quarterback this year in the NFL.
Okay.
Every single quarterback that's either going to be in the NFC postseason or is on the verge of being in the NFC postseason is they have more passing yards than Jalen Hurts this year.
Okay.
Like that.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, that can concern some people. If you're going in, like, think about it. And you said it's a new era, Johnny. It's not yet. You can't just tell people in a year, hey, running backs matter now. Like, we have been conditioned to look at quarterbacks first for like 10 years, maybe more than that.
Right.
And maybe that's a flawed way, but that is the way that NFL football has been consumed. And then you look at it and you say, well, your quarterback has the least passing yards of any team that's going to be in your side of the bracket.
Okay.
That can worry some people. And I don't blame them for being worried. Now, I think the Eagles can win, but if you're going to use that as a reason where you say, I'd like to see Hurts go out and have like 350 against the Panthers just so I feel good about that, I can understand that line of thinking.
What I would say to those people is, can you tell me those teams, what have they done in a lot of their games? They've trailed.
So I was just about to bring that up.
They trail.
So Jalen Hurts.
Like Minnesota last week.
It's a fair point.
They literally, Minnesota has bailed out some games. They have to trail. They got to throw. They're reliant on that. The teams behind them, Green Bay, they got to throw. And by the way, I can always count on Jordan Love to do something stupid every single game.
Yep. Jalen Hurts is 20th in the league in terms of passing yards, okay? Here are the quarterbacks in front of him. Now, there's a lot of them. But Jordan Love, to your point, has had to come from behind and win a lot of games. Justin Herbert, to his credit, is winning more games than what I think a lot of people expected.
Oh, absolutely he has, but he's not winning it throwing.
Kyler Murray, it's been a lot of pass first with that offense. Caleb Williams, okay, because they're losing all the time.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers has more passing yards than Jalen Hurts this year. Is Aaron Rodgers a better quarterback this year? He's horrible.
It's when you're running, when the Eagles bleed clock more than any team in the NFL. More than any team in the Nick Sirianni era, they do more bleeding of the clock where they're willing to say, feet up, run the ball, run clock. We're going to rely on our defense and to play well. And so to me, nothing concerns me.
I'll give you the top 5 in the NFL. Would you guys like to take a guess of who is in the top 5?
Okay.
I have it in front of me, so Johnny, I've already looked.
Okay.
For total passing yards. Number 1 should be easy.
Okay, total passing yards. Matthew Stafford?
Nope, not in the top 5.
Wow. Top 5 passing yards.
MVP candidate.
Kyler Murray?
No, he's just right ahead of Hurts. Number 1's easy. It's the quarterback who should be an MVP but won't be because his team stinks.
Is Joe Burrow.
Correct.
Yeah,
Joe Burrow's number 1. The guy you just beat is number 2.
Don't tell me is what Sam Darnold?
Nope. Geno Smith is
my gosh.
3rd.
And he's
so I'm sorry. Like I understand.
Geno Smith can come into South Philly anytime and get it.
Yeah.
He wants to come in. If you're worried about Geno Smith, or if you're comparing Jalen Hurts to Geno Smith, I can't help you.
C.J. Stroud is 4th on this list.
C.J. Stroud.
Kirk Cousins is 5th.
Oh my gosh.
So like your top 5, you have 2 legitimate quarterbacks in Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. Burrow's not even going to make the playoffs probably.
C.J. Stroud has regressed.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins has regressed. I mean, it's like I'm not worried.
You can't do passing yards as whether or not.
No, but here's, like, you're absolutely right. Everything you just said there, I completely 100% agree with. I'm not worried about any of those quarterbacks. I'm not. But the modern NFL, like the last decade of football has been quarterback.
Okay.
So the reason that people worry about this is because they are uncomfortable with seeing a team created this way. This ain't the 90s. This ain't the early 2000s. It's been a while since we've seen a team like this as good as they are with this type of offense.
Give me the quarterbacks again. Like, go from 1. Go from 1 again.
Burrow.
Okay,
Jackson,
Joe Burrow.
Smith.
No, not too fast. Would you have any concern about the Cincinnati Bengals coming into South Philly?
I saw the Eagles beat them by 20.
Okay, go on.
I saw them beat Lamar Jackson.
Correct.
Geno Smith.
Yes. Are you worried about the Seattle Seahawks coming in?
No. C.J. Stroud.
No.
Kirk Cousins.
No.
Baker Mayfield.
No. Well, yeah. No, Baker Mayfield, you at least. Yeah, you're not. I am. Okay, I'm going to give you Baker Mayfield.
Matthew Stafford.
No.
You saw him beat him.
No, I'm not. And I'm not worried about him coming in January to South Philly.
Goff.
No, Goff could beat you.
Mahomes.
Goff could.
Obviously, Mahomes is Mahomes. But,
Mahomes is great.
And then we're getting the Bo Nix territory.
I mean, seriously, it's people are stats. They're looking at stats.
Yeah.
They're not looking at teams. Remember, it's not Jalen Hurts versus the opposing quarterback. It's the Eagles versus the opposing team.
But the NFL will tell you it's Jalen Hurts versus the opposing quarterback over the last 10 years. And we know that's not the case by breaking it down this way, but there are people that watch the league that just see the quarterback, and when you look at Jalen Hurts' numbers, they don't translate, and that's not fair, but that creates work.
You know what else is good? Not turn the football over. Coming up next, you'll hear from Nick Sirianni about what Jalen Hurts has done so well since the way this offense has changed. Also, the latest hot take BS.
Who's it from? Jack Sparrow?
It's from ESPN about Nick Sirianni.
Oh, here we go.
It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia 76ers basketball.
Here's a three by PG. Good. Paul George way down.
97.5, The Fanatic. All right, so the latest hot takey thing. Now, I don't think it's total hot take, but it's just a step too far.
All right. And who is this person?
This is from Dominique Foxworth.
Smart guy.
On ESPN.
Real smart guy. What did he say that was dumb?
The expectations for that team as a championship, the team, of course, he's talking about is the Eagles. If the results are not a championship, I would not be surprised if Nick Sirianni ends up on the hot seat.
Okay, that's dumb.
So, if they don't get to the NFC Championship game,
that I could agree.
The conversation will happen, even though I still don't think they'd fire.
They wouldn't fire.
If he goes 14-3,
they're not fired.
And they win a playoff game and then lose in the second round, I don't think he's getting fired.
If they guarantee themselves the 2 seed, he's not getting fired.
But that sounds like Super Bowl or bust. Like, they don't win a Super Bowl, he's gonna get fired.
Dominique,
be on the hot seat.
Dominique, that's not a good take.
You can't.
I mean, his job's already safe right now. There's nothing that could happen short of like a collapse like last year.
Yeah, how about this? I could see if they stumbled down the stretch and didn't play well, like not that they like crapped out like last year.
Let's say they cost themselves the 1 seed.
They cost themselves the 1 seed. How about this? Tomorrow morning we wake up, they have the 1 seed right in their path, where Detroit, if they take care of their business, Detroit can do nothing to beat them out for.
Right.
And then they blow that with a couple bad losses, especially like if they lose to like a Dallas.
Yeah.
Or they lose somebody. And then they lose their first playoff game at home.
Then the conversation's there.
That conversation would absolutely be had. But that's the only way.
He still wouldn't be gone.
I don't think he'd be fired, no.
I think he could, in that scenario, I think he could be.
10-2, 3 straight years?
No, I honestly think if it was a total choke job down the stretch, you go from this
to
5-1 odds to win the Super Bowl to being out with. If this team doesn't win a playoff game
at home,
it'll be the Rob Thompson conversation. It'll be the fan base will talk about it, and we'll have to have the conversation. And the organization will say he's back.
Man, they took a long time last year to have him.
But
back.
I'm so, with all due respect to Mr.
Come on,
Foxworth,
Dominique. He's a smart dude,
to say that
too.
it's basically Super Bowl or bust for Nick Sirianni's job status it's ridiculous. Like, that's just going way too far.
The Eagles were 40 and 35 to 1, depending on the book, before training camps began in like June time frames.
Yeah.
Come on. Don't give me this Super Bowl or bust crap.
No, it's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
All right, so yesterday, Nick Sirianni, speaking of him, he spoke to the media, and we were just talking about the conversation of winning while running the football in the playoffs. Well, it's not just about passing yards. I think it's also protecting the football, and Jalen Hurts has done a tremendous job at that since the bye week. Only 2 turnover-worthy passes, one of which was intercepted, one was not, and then 1 fumble since that bye week.
That's absurd,
Remember,
by
at
the way.
one point, he was in the conversation of Will Levis in terms of interceptions thrown. That has since gone down drastically. He is nowhere near the top of the NFL when it comes to that. Nick Sirianni talked about that being obviously a big part of their recent success.
He's cut down his interceptions, and he's still being explosive as a player, and that's a very tricky thing. Like, hey, we want to win the double positive. What do we talk about double positive? Again, win the explosive play battle offensively and defensively and win the turnover battle. That's not, you have to take risks at times to create explosive plays. And not risks, but more so like you gotta make some great throws with some great reads and all those different things. And so he's just playing really good football right now, and he continues to play really good football. There's a reason that we're winning, and a big reason is Jalen Hurts. Again, I think what he's doing so well is he's reading the defense. He's taking what they're giving him. When it's not there, he throws it away, or he creates an explosive play with his legs, and that's something that's so unique to Jalen. And he's just doing all the little things, all the minute, boring details that a quarterback needs to do to have his team be successful. Because again, it's when your team's successful, like your quarterback's got to be doing good things, and he really is.
I understand why people are saying I need to see like that one big, huge game out of Jalen Hurts for me to start feeling comfortable, blah, blah, blah. I understand it, even though I don't agree with you. Kirk Cousins, top 5 in passing yards this year, as we mentioned last segment. Most interceptions in the NFL with 13. Geno Smith, 3rd in the NFL in passing yards, 2nd in the NFL with 12 interceptions thrown. Baker Mayfield just on the outside. He's 6th in the league of passing yards. He has 11 interceptions this year, which is third most in the NFL, tied with Patrick Mahomes and Jordan Love. These are, quarterbacks that are on winning teams. Gardner Minshew's up there. He stinks. But Sam Darnold has 10 picks this year.
And why would Gardner Minshew be up there? Because they're always losing.
Yeah.
They're constantly behind. That's why these numbers, it's gobbledygook.
Yeah.
It is. It's just, it is all about, no. Why are you going to you don't have to put the ball at risk as much if your team's not losing. If your team has a great running game. By the way, Saquon, I mean, he's getting some chatter on these shows, by the way, where people are saying that he deserves to be the MVP.
Of course.
No, but I'm surprised to hear that.
You know what it's going to become. It's the quarterback.
Oh, we know how it's probably going to end up, but
it'll be Josh Allen.
He'll be Offensive Player of the Year. And Josh Allen's numbers, put him up next to Jalen Hurts.
I know.
But people are going to say, well, Jalen Hurts has so much better weapons. That's not false.
No,
that's not false.
I'm still amazed by what Buffalo has been able to accomplish.
What if Josh Allen? What if they end up losing 2 or 3 games down the stretch?
Yeah, that's a different conversation.
What if Josh Allen goes to Detroit next week and they play like backside? Then the conversation gets interesting because I want to see Josh Allen.
It would get interesting.
Yeah, I mean, no one's going to.
I saw him beat the Chiefs.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
Oh, no, I got you. I just want to see if you're going to tell me the MVP, then I'm going to see him really perform in these big tests down the stretch.
Absolutely.
Because you're the best player in the game, supposedly.
And I want him to, because I'd rather have the 1 seed than a Saquon Barkley MVP. And if Josh Allen goes to Detroit and torches him,
no questions
give him
asked.
the MVP. We'll take the 1 seed.
I agree with that one. All right, coming up next, we reset the show to start the 8 o'clock hour, and we have today's headlines with Connor Thomas. It is Kincade and Salciunas. 8 o'clock hour ahead already, Johnny.
That's good.
On a Thursday.
2
Eagles
hours in the
Panthers
books.
is right around the corner. We'll continue talking about it right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Sixers streak comes to an end. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. It was a short streak of 2 games that consecutively won for the Sixers, but it came to an end last night, falling to the Magic 106-102. No Paul George, no Joel Embiid in that one. We'll see if they can bounce back when they play the Magic again tomorrow night. The Flyers are back on the ice tonight against the Florida Panthers after a 4-day layoff. 7 p.m. time for puck drop. You can hear that game live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. The Eagles have a matchup with the Panthers of their own. These ones, the Carolina Panthers, and they got some good news on the injury report, the Birds did, as Devontae Smith returned to full practice for the first time in a couple weeks. He's missed the last 2 games with a hamstring injury. He was a full participant yesterday. Darius Slay was also limited as he looks to return from a concussion. It might seem like an easier game Sunday against the Panthers, but Nick Sirianni, he's saying all the right things a head coach should, that they're not taking this team lightly.
I think that would be malpractice by us as coaches and as players if we were up for some games and not up for some games. We know that this is a talented team that is continuing to play good football.
Hey, even if it looks like a 3-foot putt, the great players make them. We have a big Thursday night football game tonight, too, for the Eagles. The Lions host the Packers in a Lions loss, and the Eagles win on Sunday would jump the Eagles temporarily into the top spot in the NFC. This update's also brought to you by PJ Wellahans. Join the club. If you haven't signed up yet, why not? Become a PJ's Pub Club member. Free to join at PJ's. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson.
Good luck to any team that can stick with this squad.
on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We have today's headlines coming up at 8:05, and of course, we will take your text messages as this segment continues. Here's what we've been talking about today so far on this Thursday morning. Unbelievable, it's already Thursday. What can we still learn about this Eagles team, and what can they try to improve on that would make people feel satisfied? I mean, that's the biggest thing, and the Jalen Hurts discussion is kind of been rampant over the last hour because there are people that are still waiting to see that big game out of Jalen Hurts, but I just don't know what you're waiting for. Like, they don't need to. Like, this Panthers game, I'm expecting them to be up 2 scores at halftime. If they're not, then something's going wrong. And then in the second half, I don't want Jalen Hurts dropping back to pass. I want to see, and I'm never going to say these words again, I want to see Kenny Pickett. Yeah. That's the first time and last time I hope to say those words. I want to see Kenny Pickett. No, I hope you say that every week. Yeah, that's the truth. Because you don't want to see Jalen Hurts on the field in the fourth quarter. I just hate saying it. We talk about 2022 and why that was such a big thing toward the Eagles' success, especially if the team is preaching physicality and practicing during the week, wearing pads, doing one-on-one drills. How great would it be in the fourth quarter if you have all the starters off? Be fantastic. I want to see it happen. I want to believe it's going to happen, and I do believe this is the week we finally get the lopsided laugher. I don't see Bryce Young being able to handle this Eagles defense. Just don't. No, I don't see that either. I think this game, the 12.5 point line, I think is very fair. I think it's a fair line. I wouldn't touch it, by the way.
I would.
I am.
You would? Hammer that.
Yeah, dude.
The Eagles are winning this game by like 20 plus.
Yeah, dude. Wow. I love the confidence. Love the confidence. Yeah. That's great. I just worry about if you then, because remember, if they pull the offensive starters, they're going to pull the defensive starters too.
Bro, you can play the backups against this Panthers team.
You could potentially. I've watched them play. I've for whatever reason I've seen them play. So you worry a backdoor cover. Yeah, backdoor cover. That's what I'm worried about.
And
I'm
you've
not
seen
worried
them play
about
like the Chiefs tight and like the
Yeah, I mean,
Bucs
I've seen them play some good games.
Well, here's the thing. Do you remember when I bet the Jameis Winston over 1.5 interceptions? It's because he had like that really good game for Cleveland, and it's just like, well, the guy that he is, it's going to even out. Bryce Young has been on a tear. I think the guy that he is, it's going to even out, and this is the week.
There we go. All right, like that. And then our other discussion that we've had today, what makes you lead with the skies falling mentality? And I say you, the person that does lead with the skies falling mentality. Right. Not everybody. Not everybody. Course. But there are people that lead with it. And if you don't lead with it, you know about it. You know the whole term of Negadelphia. Now, Negadelphia can go in multiple ways. People think Negadelphia could mean always angry, always hating the teams. When I think of Negadelphia, I think of the worry warts. I think about the people that think, they could lose this game. Might come up and beat us. Or maybe they got hot too early. Oh my gosh, maybe we're winning too much. Oh, I hate it. I hate the mentality. That's what I think of Negadelphia. I cannot take it. I cannot take that mentality. I don't understand. First of all, if I did not find great joy or optimism in my teams, I'm not that enthused to devote that much time to it. Yeah. I can't imagine wanting to go in with a fatalistic attitude. Yeah, and there's a lot of people that have that, and I don't think anybody's going to be fatalistic going into this Panthers game, but there will be people that will still have like a mentality of, oh, well, it's great that they beat the Commanders and Rams and Ravens in 3 straight weeks. But that Steelers game, man, that's going to be the true test. That was a guy earlier. And I guess they haven't watched the Steelers lately. And it's like, come on, man. Like, I have watched the Steelers, but I've also watched the Eagles, and I've watched the Eagles handle their business for 8 straight weeks now. Correct. And they've won in multiple ways, right? They've won running the football. They've won kind of throwing the football. Defensively, they've stopped mobile quarterback that doesn't move, run first, pass first. If you say you beat this year Burrow and Lamar Jackson, number 1 and 2 in passing yards, as people point out for Jalen Hurts,
both on the road,
and you exactly. So exactly at that point, I would just say, and Matthew Stafford, he's
also
up there
the
too.
Road.
I would say, shh, yeah, shh, because what you're saying is blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter. What you're saying is nonsense. So stop saying it. Just stop, because it doesn't make any sense. You keep on moving the goalpost on expectation. He's beating everybody. Yeah. So
And
why?
by the way, his team is beating everybody.
Why? Why do you sometimes, the person that does do this, lead with the negative mentality, the worrying sky is falling mentality? Why? Explain it to us. 610-632-0975, and we understand lack of championships is probably the biggest reason for a lot of people. But, man, I'm watching the Eagles as 12.5-point favorites against the Carolina Panthers. I'd rather be the Eagles than the Carolina Panthers.
Okay, I can tell you the Detroit fan base right now, they have every reason in Detroit to not have a fatalistic attitude about the Detroit Lions. They are the worst team. 2 playoff wins since, Was it 3 playoff wins since the 50s? It's bad.
Yeah.
And they are supremely confident in their football team. Supremely, that fan base. That city is believing. They're electric. They're buying in and everything. Come on. I think the Eagles are a better balanced team. I think the Eagles are a team that has more pedigree because they've actually been to a Super Bowl.
Right. That's a big one.
I mean, to me, it's I don't understand. If Detroit can be super optimistic and we're not, that's a problem. That's a problem.
All right, well, we'll get to the text messages on all of our topics coming up in a few minutes, but it is time now for today's headlines with Mr. Commoner Thomas. Commoner.
Commoner?
Commoner.
Today's headlines with Connor
Hello,
Thomas.
Commoner.
Hi, Commoner.
Andrew. Yeah, it doesn't really work with your name. Yeah, okay. Well, we could just
You
all say
suck.
each other's names right. All right, this segment's over.
That would be kind.
No, so speaking of sucking, this guy has not been great with his new team. Have you guys seen the latest NFL suspension?
Yes.
And it's not from the league.
And it's not Azeez Al-Shaair.
No, it's not.
Who now thinks he's the Joker.
It is Deontay Johnson. And the reason Deontay Johnson is suspended by the Baltimore Ravens following their game against the Philadelphia Eagles is he refused to go on the field last Sunday. They were trying to put him in the game, and Jordan Schultz is reporting that he refused to enter the game, so the team has suspended him for conduct detrimental.
So
Now,
have we seen why he refused? I only know that he refused to go in the game. Is there...
part of the explanation is that he has felt unsatisfied. I'm trying to think of the word to use it. He's not happy with his time in Baltimore for whatever reason.
Like
Whether-
his role? Or
I guess role
okay.
on the team or just the organization, whatever the case. I'm going to live by a different narrative until that's confirmed. Players are so scared of the Eagles secondary that they're refusing to go in the game. And if I was matched up with Quinyanamo Bay, I'd be nervous too.
But here's the crazy thing. He got traded from Carolina to Baltimore. That's a blessing.
You got the opportunity.
You just got traded from a trash organization to a potential Super Bowl contender. And your mentality is, I'm going to refuse to play for this Super Bowl contender? Like this guy, and oh, by the way, do you guys know what this year is for him?
Contract year.
Contract year.
Is it really?
What team
Wants
would
you if you
see
won't do
this
that?
happen and go, oh, we want to sign this guy? What are
That's a good one.
What are you doing to yourself, dude? This
Future
is
New York
stupid.
Jet.
But it's just
future New York
Yeah, you're probably right. But it's like that's dumb. Like, why would you do that? First off, you're doing career suicide here by refusing to play for the Baltimore Ravens. By the way, the number one offense, still number one. I don't know if it's still number one, but a top 3 offense in the NFL. You're refusing to play
Okay, that's really weird.
in a contract year.
That just doesn't make any sense.
B-Gun says the rumors are he wants to get cut and go back to the Steelers.
Yeah, and will Baltimore do that? No.
Why would they do
Why
that?
would they let their
Their
division
divisional-
rival get better? Like that
No
would be
shot.
stupid for Baltimore to do.
And by the way, that won't get you your next contract.
No.
That's going to be considered as unprofessional as hell.
Unless Pittsburgh brings him back.
I
That would be
think-
like the only team.
I think he's just scared of the Eagles. It's okay, Deontay. A lot of people are. This guy should be scared of coaching basketball going forward. The Lakers got smoked last night, and J.J. Redick didn't exactly handle the post-game presser. Now, boys, I know you're going to want to get this off your chest.
I'm sorry. I will dance on his head coaching grave.
You can dance after the audio. Slow down.
There has to be some ownership on the court, and I'll take all the ownership in the world. This is my team, and I lead it, and I'm embarrassed, but I can't physically get us organized. I can't physically be into the basketball. I can't physically talk and call out reds and physically call out coverages. And by the way, I'm not blaming players. I own this, but it needs some ownership on the court as well.
I own this. But he gave 4 buts. He gave 4 examples of, but I can't do this, and I can't do that, and I can't do that, and I can't do that. But I'm not blaming players.
Now, hold on a
He's
second.
feeling it.
You you can call out coverages.
Yes, you can.
If you're a basketball coach, you can call that stuff out. Now,
many coaches do.
I am going to celebrate when this doesn't work out. You guys know my personal feelings toward J.J. Redick, a guy who had a handshake agreement to sign a big deal with the Sixers, get overpaid by the Sixers.
But he wanted to go closer to home.
So that he could get less money the next contract, so that he could be a part of a championship team before his career's over, because he was getting older in age, and he wanted to be closer to his family that lived in Brooklyn. So then instead of re-signing with the Sixers or with the Nets, he took a deal with the New Orleans Pelicans,
right?
Which, again, my geography's not that great, but I don't think New Orleans is closer to Brooklyn than Philadelphia or Brooklyn itself.
Maybe there are more direct flights.
And then
Maybe.
rip our own fan base.
Then rip the fan base, and then rip anybody.
Rip our own fan base for giving him a standing ovation.
I hated him doing the standing ovation, or everybody doing the standing ovation.
He was not deserving the standing ovation.
Not. So I'm rooting for this guy to fail, and I also root for his failure because of his pompous Duke attitude. People all of a sudden forget that because he played for the Sixers for a year and a half, and he had a sleeve tattoo and drank coffee. All of a sudden, people loved him. J.J. Redick has always been the same douche that he's been since Duke. He always has been.
He always has been.
And because he drank wine with LeBron and was able to pull up a whiteboard and say, this is what I would do if I was trying to draw up a game-winning play. Awesome, man.
How's it working for you there, JJ?
It's not. It's not.
Well, how's it working, JJ?
I root for that team's failure, and it's a shame because I am a root for greatness guy. Like, I do want to. If the Sixers aren't winning, I wouldn't mind LeBron just continuing to win. Like, I think that's cool. But I'm sorry, LeBron, you tied yourself to J.J. Redick like you've tied yourself to a lot of bad coaches over the years.
You know, he really doesn't. He's not very good as a GM or a LeBron GM or coaching his own team.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, he should stick to just playing the basketball.
Which he's
great at.
He's great.
Still
which he's
very
still
good at.
No, he's
like
ridiculous.
This year,
at.
he's still having a ridiculous season.
He's got to be looking around and going, "Are you kidding me? I'm almost 40."
He's averaging 22 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds.
And it's
a game.
consistent as hell. He's a monster.
All right, we'll round out with
He's
this.
turning 40 in 25 days.
Oh, boy.
What can we still learn about this football team?
Simple question, what we started the show with. So, aside from the Jalen Hurts thing of we want to see him throw like crazy, I think what we can learn about the Eagles is their level of focus, right? Because this is a new challenge for this team. Not that I'm worried about a collapse of last year, but we talk about keeping your foot on the gas pedal. And we've talked to multiple people who are in with the team, and they say, well, Jeff McClain said it earlier this week. They're not thinking about that. They're never going to take their foot off the gas pedal. Well, we'll see. They still have the Steelers, and they have some 3-foot putt games against the Cowboys and against the Panthers this Sunday. And I'm not saying they need to win out or I lose faith in this team, but how they go about their business when we look at them locked into one of the top 2 seeds in the NFC already will tell us a lot about this team's ability to just continue to play at this level.
So Sam tweeted that in around 6:20 this morning. He asked, will they stay focused on much lesser opponents, and how will they fix the slow starts? Obviously, that's one of the big things. I don't know. Maybe this is just me. I look at the culture of this team. I look at Jalen Hurts. I don't think Jalen Hurts cares who he's playing. I don't think he cares if it's the Panthers or if it's the Chiefs.
I don't either.
That guy just wants to go out there and win, and it starts up top, right? And so Jalen Hurts is the right guy to lead a team into a game like the Carolina Panthers on Sunday and still push hey, let's win this football game. I feel confident in saying that.
I think that's fair. Yeah. I think I think we need more confidence. We need more confidence with this team.
Yeah. No, I don't think Connor was unconfident.
No, I don't think he is either.
We'll see how they handle the lesser opponent.
Yeah, I expect them to, but these are the things that I'm looking at. Expecting something and then still saying it's something I'm going to watch doesn't mean I don't believe it's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you. I mean,
got you.
Look, they could take a few series off if they think they got. Do you have that Nick Sirianni clip? We didn't get to it earlier. It's cut 1. Nick Sirianni, he's saying the right things. Here he was yesterday talking about the Panthers being a good football team, John.
I think somebody asked me last week, but is there a little bit more, that we're playing the Ravens? I think that would be malpractice by us as coaches and as players if we were up for some games and not up for some games. We know that this is a talented team that is continuing to play good football. You can just look at their last 4 games. They've played really good football. If you take anybody lightly in this league, it will humble you fast. And so This is a good team that has our attention, and our job each and every week is to be focused on the job at hand and lock in every single week. And that you don't have to go there when that's just your mission each. That's just our standard. That's our culture, and that's what we do each and every week is put our head down and work and control the things we can
That's
control.
the right answer.
Nick. That's well done.
Like that, he's on fire. He's on a heater right now, except for the overreaction thing.
He is.
He's on a
That was
heater
good.
right now.
Except when he's trying to make excuses for stuff that he screwed up.
But he mentioned the Panthers the last 4 games. So 4 games ago, they beat the Saints, which is that's a division win, good for them. They beat the Giants the following week after that in overtime. Not that the Giants are a team to really celebrate a win over, but a win's a win, especially for a team like Carolina. Then they go toe-to-toe with Kansas City, 30-27. The Chiefs' defense has not been a problem this year, and the Panthers scored 27 points in that game. And then this past week, they go to overtime with the Buccaneers. Now, is it they're playing better, or is it, to Connor's point of, let's see how the Eagles, do they go in with this same focused mentality? Like, did Kansas City go into Carolina saying, we got this?
They may have, but you can't use that excuse every week for a team playing well.
No,
at some point,
right.
you got to say, this team's playing much better.
At some point, you
ball.
say, good for them.
And by the way, Dave Canales was part of the success that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had against the Philadelphia Eagles. So he has a point of reference of going, yeah, I've played the Eagles quite a few times. We're feeling good about it.
Yeah, he's a great jockey, but he doesn't have the horses. I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
He's still the Dave Canales story.
Dave Canales' story is a creepy one.
Do you know anything about this guy?
No, I don't.
Oh, you know nothing?
You really don't know the story?
All right,
No clue.
so Eagles fans, not that I'm saying anyone should do this, but every
What do you
once-
mean? Go get the book.
Every once in a while, you can find ammo to talk trash with Brandon Graham. You've heard stories. I'm not saying Brandon Graham, but he's just a good trash talker. We have heard stories of players that used to do research on the guy they're lining up against. They find out who their girlfriend is, all that kind of stuff.
Bro, we did it in college.
Yeah. So, you do your research. Dave Canales made it pretty public. You don't know his story?
Connor, he's a...
he wrote a book about being addicted to pornography.
He's a pornography, a sex addict, and also a serial cheater.
Yeah.
On his wife.
That's no good.
Now, the thing is, though, to his credit, he's owned it.
Yes.
And he has shared the story of his struggle with that and what he's done. So it is admirable that he has cleaned his life up and done all these things. But that said, look, it's on the field of play.
Yeah.
Let's just put it this way. Like serial cheater.
The college game day posters.
Yeah, the
Oh, my
signs.
gosh.
What if somebody just
Now,
made a list of stars?
Here's what I'll say.
And you know what stars I'm talking about.
If he coached the Cowboys, go for it. But he coaches the Panthers. Do we really need to do that? Come on.
No, we don't need to.
No, you don't need to.
But there's going to be Nick
Against the
Sirianni
Panthers.
yelled at his own fans. You don't think there's going to be somebody behind the Panthers bench?
That is going to go.
Probably.
That is going to go.
Hey, Davey.
Hey, coach. We got Pornhub back here.
We don't need to do that to the Panthers.
Hey, coach.
They stink.
Hey, coach. Look who's here.
Yo, by the way,
what's the girl who came in here to the
Alexis Texas?
Alexis Texas came in.
Yeah.
I think Ray Dunn didn't even do a show sheet that day. I don't even think
the kid out.
I don't even think
out Ray.
I don't even think that he did a show sheet that day.
By the way, Ray, scarf guy.
Yeah, he wore a scarf.
Learned that
What?
last night.
What?
He came to the Sixers game with a scarf.
Ray is a scarf guy.
Learned that about Ray.
Wouldn't have seen that coming.
I had no idea.
Not that I'm anti-scarf. I think and Ray is put together well.
He is.
He puts himself together well.
Now,
he is a.
I didn't pin him as a scarf guy.
Real quick
I didn't pin him as the Alexis Texas guy.
As much as I love the scarf and Alexis Texas talk, we do need to give the show a little pat on the back, too, for being true football guys.
Why is that?
Did you see the recent NFC awards for this past week of play?
No.
Braden Mann.
Braden Mann is your
pointed it
NFC Special Teams Player of the Week.
He was great last week.
He was great. No, he had
Listen,
some great ones.
I'd be willing to bet that there was only one sports talk radio show in this market
That talks about him?
that
Right,
talked
man.
Braden Mann, and he got the deserved
That
respect.
may be by a reason.
We're gonna make the
We see it all,
Braden
baby.
Mann's men's fan club.
Man's.
Man's.
Oh, really?
You guys want to do a fan club? Like,
No.
remember
You
Jeans?
You do it, and we'll see how it takes off.
As a former cosplay player for the Philadelphia 76ers.
You're a cosplayer.
I could dive back into the old days. All right, coming up next. Are the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles better than 2022? That team that went to the Super Bowl, if you guys remember.
I remember that year.
John has made that case before. I read an article this morning that gives you reasons that backs your case up, Johnny. See what I do? I have my partners back here.
I like this.
It is Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Good news for Slay and Devontae. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by your local PJ Wellahans. Enjoy fall happy hours with friends with $3 domestic beers and $5 wings every day at 3 p.m. at PJ's. Everybody loves PJ's. The Eagles, well, a couple of their big names got some good news yesterday, or rather provided good news, as Devontae Smith returned to full practice, according to the injury report, and Darius Slay was limited at practice, which is a step up from his time out due to concussion protocol. So it seems like those guys are trending towards being back on the field for the Birds this Sunday as they take on the Carolina Panthers. Now, you might say Carolina seems like an easy matchup for the Birds, and that's probably fair, but Nick Sirianni is the head coach. He doesn't get that luxury. He talked about being up for every team, whether they're the Ravens or the Panthers.
I think that would be malpractice by us as coaches and as players if we were up for some games and not up for some games. We know that this is a talented team that is continuing to play good football.
So we'll see if the Eagles can keep their focus on Sunday against a lesser opponent. We also have a big Thursday night game tonight. Lions-Packers. A Lions loss and an Eagles win Sunday would jump the Eagles into the top spot in the NFC for the time being. The Sixers fell to the Magic 106-102 last night, ending their short 2-game win streak. The Flyers are back on the ice against the Florida Panthers tonight after a 4-day layoff. 7 p.m. puck drop. You can hear that game live here on The Fanatic. This update's also brought to you by AAA Car Care. Save up to $30 on auto repair with their AAA Triple Play. Only at AAA Car Care Centers. Offer valid through December 31st. Details at AAA.com/mycar. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
Ricky Batalico.
I think the one thing, and I love hearing this, if everybody does their job, we're going to be good.
Has plenty to say about sports in Philly.
And I love that they enjoy being physical, because that, to me, is what propels this team into being so freaking good, is that they are physical with you. Not one play, not one series, all game long.
Hear Ricky with Tyrone Johnson on the best show ever. Weekday afternoons 2 to 6. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All the Bet Parks team is waiting for you to join in, because Bet Parks has got the best online casino and sportsbook app in the country. It's awesome, and I love it because this is going to be a big weekend of college football, too. You got the conference championship games that are going to lead you up to the college football playoff just a few weeks from now. So what you're going to be doing is you get in on all the action right now. You can bet futures bets on who you think's going to win it all, and also, too, bet on all the individual games. Of course, we've got the Birds, almost 13-point favorites on Sunday. Do you think they're going to score 13 and win and have enough to win? Or do you think it's going to be a tighter game? I'm going to stay away from the point spread, but I'm going to mess with some other things. The individual player performances. It's going to be fun. The casino bonus is great, too, if you're a new customer. You can get up to $1,000 in casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. Check out betparks.com and get the full details. You got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, Michigan, Maryland, or Ohio. Look, you love to play, and you play to win, and you love football. So if you do, Bet Parks. Should you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
With the cold weather upon us, don't let your home improvement projects freeze up. Let our team of preferred pros keep your home warm, safe, and prepared to tackle the cold. From heating and plumbing to junk removal and repairs, our team of experts has you covered. Make this winter easier, one project at a time, with Preferred Pros.
For junk removal or clean out, big or small, residential or commercial, let the vets at J-Dog lend a hand. Call 844-GET-JDOG. 844-GET-JDOG.
Prepare your roof for the season ahead and protect your home from whatever winter brings. Call Volpe Enterprises now at 855-GO-VOLPE or visit online at GoVolpe.com.
Is your heating system keeping up with the cold? Ace Hardware Home Services will ensure your HVAC system is ready to handle the winter's chill. Schedule a consult at acehardwarehomeservices.com.
Check out Preferred Pros today. This paid program is sponsored by businesses highly rated by actual customers. For more details, visit 975thefanatic.com.
Let's talk about the holiday gift that she really needs this year. Not a household appliance, not another gift certificate she forgets about and then it expires. What she really needs? Well, it's at Benari Jewelers. She needs a wardrobe of jewelry. Things that she can wear every day, from the grocery store and the gym to those romantic date nights and special occasions. Those coveted tennis bracelets, dazzling diamond stud earrings, or maybe colored gemstones set in a stunning pendant. Whatever it is that she needs, you'll find it under one roof. Benari Jewelers, the area's largest selection and latest designs from the world's premier designers. Oh, and what you need before you visit, some Benari inside information to help you save. Just go online to BenariJewelers.com and unwrap amazing savings. Then visit one of our showrooms, where this holiday season you'll find everything she needs. Benari Jewelers, 2 locations, Exton and Newtown Square. Online at BenariJewelers.com.
It's football season, and Uber Eats is dropping undefeated deals on all your game day favorites. This week, score buy one, get one free famous bowls from KFC, only on Uber Eats. Craving even more? We've got you covered with game day deals on pizza, burgers, tacos, and more all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms, taxes, and fees apply. See app for details.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Imagine a world where animals and humans coexist in harmony, where wild animals thrive, habitats are protected, and marginalized communities are empowered. At International Animal Rescue, this is our vision. Our holistic, community-led projects not only rescue animals, but also protect and replenish precious habitats, creating a better future for us all. But we can't do this without you. Show your support now and help keep the wild, wild. Visit internationalanimalrescue.org.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
We all know Philly sports is big business, and we've got you covered every weekday with the Fanatics Business of Sports reports that are powered by Pico for Business. For information on how your company can save with Pico's incentives, go to pico.com/business.
Were you recently hurt while riding in a Lyft or an Uber? You could be entitled to compensation. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, has dedicated attorneys who fight to get you more. Don't let this slip by.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This holiday season, Straight Talk Wireless is letting you say yes a lot more with real unlimited data. Yes to sharing pics of the ugliest holiday sweaters. Yes to checking weather on the go for surprise sledding trips. And with a free phone at sign up, let the yes-tivities begin. No way! Yes way. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart or straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 1/5/25 while supplies last at participating stores. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation on select single-line plans. Limit of 2 phones per customer. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Wells Fargo Center is the place to be for college basketball.
Can't get enough of this if you're a Philly college basketball fan.
Welcome to the Wells Fargo Center. It's a city versus state showdown as Drexel men's basketball faces off against Penn State on Saturday, December 21st in South Philly.
One possession game. Embracing the big stage at the Wells Fargo Center. What a day it's been.
Tickets are on sale now at wellsfargocenterphilly.com.
It's football season. Get in the game at Acme all season long by participating products and receive touchdown tokens to redeem for entries into the Swoop In and Win sweepstakes. You could win 2025 Eagles season tickets or Eagles autographed helmets, jerseys, footballs, and more. Acme, the official supermarket of the Philadelphia Eagles.
This week at Acme, don't miss the football items of the week. Dawn dish soap varieties for $5.49 or the digital for Tide Pod.
Eagles in 2024 are better than in 2022, and that's something that you started saying just the other day. But real quick, you mentioned the suspension of Deontay Johnson during headlines, Connor, and we did not get into the Azeez Al-Shaair suspension. Can a commissioner add to a suspension?
I wish he could.
So
no, he could. Sure, he could. Absolutely.
I just don't understand what he's doing. So yesterday, if you guys missed it, yesterday he posted on Instagram once he got suspended and the appeal was upheld. He posted a photo of the Joker. And, he basically said, if you want me to be your villain, I'll be your villain. See you soon.
That's taunting the commissioner. That's taunting fans that consider him to be an absolute, not a really good human being.
Because this isn't, and here's the thing. People are wondering why 3 games. Well, this is his 4th instance in his career where he has had, there's photos. And look, there's bad hits. It happens all the time. Bad hits happen all the time.
This is a bad dude.
I just don't understand. Why are you doing this? I wish there was somebody close to him that would go, dude, what are you doing? Don't post that, because I doubt they extend his suspension, but the next time he does something wrong on the field in a physical sport, so it's not hard to find somebody make illegal contact, you got a target on you now.
He's not a good person. He does his behavior on the field. This isn't the first time.
No, it's not. That's what I'm saying.
He's a dirty player.
And that's why it was 3 games. If this was his first occurrence, then he's not getting a 3-game suspension. He may not even get suspended. He would probably have just been ejected from the game, in which he was. The GM of the Texans spoke about that earlier in the week. He went through a list of players that were not suspended for similar instances. But here's the difference. He has had multiple instances that has now led to this suspension. But going on social media and doing that, I don't understand. And we always talk about it, John. The need to go to the phone for people is sometimes their worst enemy.
I think it's, again, living on your phone. It's just not good. Nothing good comes from it when you were talking about when you're on a bad run like that.
Right.
It's best to just shut up.
Nobody's saying he can't be emotional.
Shut up.
You got suspended. That sucks, right? Nobody's saying you can't be emotional. But to then go on a tirade on social media, that's only going to hurt your cause for further decisions. The next time there's a question of whether or not he should be suspended, I just don't think it's smart.
No, it's definitely not.
Do you think they should revisit I would say send him home for the year. I really would. I'd send him home.
I doubt that they will.
But I would, though. That's what I would. If I'm the commissioner, I'm like, you are not going to do this. You're not going to play like you're a victim. You are not going to portray this. You're going to shut your mouth, be repentant, and move on from this. And instead, you choose to do this.
Yeah.
I'd send you home for the year. And I believe it could hold up.
Yeah, I just don't think it's going to.
And the Players Association would fight.
Because that's a bit of a dangerous precedent.
Yeah.
Where you tweet something Roger Goodell doesn't like and all of a sudden you're suspended.
No, I get what you're saying.
In this instance, I understand where you're coming from, but the package of what it would look like, you can't.
Yeah, Nick Castellanos has spoken openly about his dislike for Rob Manfred. He's never been suspended.
They did this. Wait a minute, though. They did this to Antonio Brown. Had this happen to him? Antonio Brown had a suspension that was changed, I believe, because of social media activity. After he got suspended, when he had his little meltdown thing where he had 2 or 3 things went back to back.
Was it the Raiders?
I don't know. No, it was when he was.
Because when he was at the Raiders, remember he didn't like the helmet, so he changed the helmet.
No, but there was a thing where he's speaking out, and I believe they changed his.
Well, he spoke out toward
constantly.
He spoke out. If you remember, who was that? Mayock, Mike Mayock.
Mike Mayock.
He spoke out about Mike Mayock after he got suspended. And that was the GM of the Raiders. So I think that may have been a team extended suspension. And then he got released, and then he went to Tampa. All right. Anyway, so Ralph Vacchiano, who covers the NFL for Fox, he used to cover the Giants, so he knows the NFC East very well. But now he's like a national reporter for Fox. He wrote an article about the Eagles being better in 2024 than the 2022 season. Now, I want you to start, John, because you said it before anybody else has said it. that this team is better than that team. If
This
you
team
could explain.
this team is better because for one thing is if you're just talking about the running game, this team has a much better rushing attack. Even though that team could really run the football, this team has Saquon Barkley, so the discussion just ends at that point.
Right, that helps.
You have a difference maker. But defensively is really where I see it, Andrew, most of all. That defense, that team, though they were very, very solid, they were an incredible, the number of the sacks, 70?
70, yeah.
It was 70. It was a byproduct of the offense, a significant byproduct of being up by 2 and 3 scores constantly, that team, being so lopsided that they then went and capitalized on, well, pin your ears back, boys.
Yeah, go get 'em.
Get after him. Jonathan Gannon unleashing the hounds. And by the way, he's doing that in Arizona too, trying to teach that same style of defense. Get on after him. You got the lead. Let's pounce on him. This team is so much more fundamentally sound. The linebacking play is distinctly better. The secondary is better. The front may not have the numbers, but I'm going to tell you right now, Jalen Carter is as good as anyone, and that includes Fletcher Cox at that point of his career.
So,
who Fletcher, by the way, had a better year in 2023 than he had in 22.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's no knock on Fletch.
So Vacchiano gives 5 reasons, and his first one is about the pass rush. He says they are a better overall defensive team, not as reliant on the pass rush. He mentions that in 2022, they had 70 sacks. Obviously, that was great. He said, but when the pass rush wasn't there, they struggled. That was clear in the Super Bowl when they couldn't get to Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs quarterback completed 21 of his 27 passes for 182 yards and 3 touchdowns.
And the turf sucked.
That's true.
It did.
Got something in my throat.
It did. Both teams played on it, though.
He said, but this year, after a slow start, the Eagles are doing everything well under new defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. Their pass rush isn't overwhelming, but they do have 36 sacks so far, on pace to finish with 51. They're just as good against the pass as they were in 2022, though, because they tackle better, especially the linebackers.
Much better tackling.
His second reason, they aren't leaning heavily on quarterback Jalen Hurts. Now, I don't know if he's using
now, is that a backwards slap?
So he says Hurts was a legitimate MVP contender in 2022, and most of the time when the Eagles won, it was because of him. He was the one who found ways to bail the team out of trouble. They relied on his arm, leading a top 10 passing attack, as much as they relied on his legs as a key part of the best rushing attack in the league.
I disagree with that statement completely. Completely.
Okay.
Tell me in 2022 the games where Jalen Hurts' passing attack bailed them out. I'm taking his terms, and sometimes we talked about this yesterday. Wording I get hung up on. Can you tell me the times in 2022 that they were getting bailed out?
I can't. I think he's bailed them out as a quarterback. In 2022,
they were clowning people. They weren't like.
Well, I'm thinking about the win against the Cardinals, Colts, and Texans. I think it was.
Yes.
Where it came down to the final drive, and he won with his legs. Like he put the team on his back, and they won.
I got to go back in 2022 and not 2022. The opening game at Detroit was a shootout, 38-35.
Yeah.
They clowned Minnesota. They clowned Washington. They beat Jacksonville handily. They went to Arizona and won on the last-second field goal, 20-17. Mm-hmm. So his arm didn't bail them out in that one.
Well, no, he said he was the one who found ways to bail the team out of trouble. He didn't say his arm. They said they relied on his arm, leading a top 10 passing attack as much as they rely on his legs.
Okay, in the first 6 games of the year, they didn't trail.
Right, but
they didn't come back. So he didn't bail them out of anything.
It's not just the first 6 weeks.
Okay, well, let's go further.
Cardinals,
they blew
Texans.
out. Then they seventh win. They blew out the Steelers. 8th win. They beat the Houston Texans by 2 scores, 29-17. He didn't bail them out.
That was an ugly game.
They never trailed. They didn't trail. Washington game, they lost at home. The Indianapolis game, he had the 2 fourth-quarter drives, right, Connor? There weren't like 2 fourth-quarter drives in the Indy game. That's one game. They blew out Green Bay and then gave up some points late. They blew out Tennessee, blew out the Giants, survived against the Bears. Then he was injured. He didn't bail them out. Only the Indianapolis game.
Okay.
It was one game. One game the whole year. And by the way, and it was because of the fact, again, I'm not going to applaud you if you had 3 points on the board halfway through the fourth quarter as a quarterback. you were having a bad game.
Right.
And then you put 17 on the board. I'm not going to be like, man, you bailed your team out. No, you should have played better in the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, but Brendan Gunn brings up a good point with the stats. He just had it up on the board. He had 3 games in 2022 where he had 315 or more passing yards. He has not gone over that mark yet this season.
No, I got you. But he didn't bail them out of anything. They were blowing teams out.
Anyways.
They were like, he wasn't being a Superman.
There were 3 more. The presence of Saquon Barkley. They are better at stopping the run, and they are better at grinding down the will of their opponents with their Saquon-powered ground game. So a lot of it has to do with
just Saquon,
defense and Saquon. But
he's pretty good.
But he has all these numbers to back up why they're better this year than they were in 2022. And to John's point, he's been saying that the last couple of weeks. So it's catching on,
better.
Johnny.
They're better.
It's catching on.
I don't think he's listening to me, though.
All right, coming up next, we'll check some of your text messages, and we'll reset some of our topics today. It is Kincade Salciunas right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, a Birds.
Oh, Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. Coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, our man Kevin Agandi will not be joining us today. He might be joining us tomorrow. I'll keep you guys posted. I always love our conversations with Kevin because we can jump all over the place with him. He's a great Philadelphian living in Bristol.
Phoenixville first.
Area.
Phoenixville first.
Yes,
though.
that's true. But in the 9 o'clock hour, I'm looking forward to just kind of having some fun about the demise of another franchise in the NFL right now. We're going to talk about the 49ers coming up in the 9 o'clock hour.
Oh, that's just awesome.
Because it wasn't that long ago where they were the biggest rival, more so than the Cowboys. Like last year, I remember when the schedule came out, I circled the Niners game before I circled the two Cowboys.
That's because you're a football guy.
Damn right.
You understand.
That was the bigger rivalry.
That was the bigger game.
And if they played each other this year, it would still be
the bigger
rivalry than what the Dallas Cowboys are throwing your way. So we'll get into the demise of the San Francisco 49ers coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. But we've gone away from the text line for a little bit. So, Connor, let us know. What do we have on the text line? You can text in. You can call in 610-632-0975. What could the Eagles tweak to get better at before the playoffs start? And what do you still want to learn from this Eagles team? I don't know how much more I need to learn from this team about other than can you start faster? That's really it for me. And is Jake Elliott going to be consistent come playoff time if I need him to kick field goals? But
I'm not even worried about that.
But come playoff time, it's you're trying to score touchdowns. Like you're even more aggressive come playoff time. So right now it's just can you start scoring earlier? That's pretty much
what we're
it.
looking for.
So what do we got, Connor?
Gavin from Freehold checks in, and this is kind of on the conversation about run first and what we were talking about earlier. How many years do we as a fan base yell, run the damn ball? And now that they're doing exactly that, we're complaining about the lack of passing. This fan base is schizophrenic. Just enjoy the win because that's all that matters. We have the talent on offense to air it out if we need to. Everybody relax.
Maybe not schizophrenic, but manic.
That's Gavin from Freehold.
I like Gavin really a lot.
Yeah.
Gavin,
he's right.
Gavin, you're the man.
We scream, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. They start running the ball. It's like, whoa, hold on a second.
Come on, we don't want to run the ball that much. No, I love run the ball.
I love it.
I love it, and I love it when the fans, and it's mocked by a lot of people.
I know. This team is built for it. Like, you have Saquon Barkley.
Come on.
This team is built for it, and I get it. People worry that if you're going up against Patrick Mahomes, who could throw for 400 yards, you're going to have to try to keep up. Or why don't you play to your speed? Play to your pace. Time of possession still matters in the NFL.
Why are you not worrying? And you know what's really funny is that's something that I pointed out to you was my biggest fear of Kellen Moore, and they've done really well with it.
They have.
Now, Saquon Barkley's a big part of it, but that's also Kellen Moore adjusting to.
I thought they were going to panic during the Rams game. I really did, because if you remember, the Rams went down field in a blink of an eye, then Kyron Williams fumbled.
Right.
Then the second drive, they went down the field in a blink of an eye, and yet the Eagles stuck with what they are good at. And I'm too scarred in years past of, we're down 3-0. We got to pass every single play on this drive. Doug Peterson was really bad at that.
You know what? Andy was bad at that at the time, too.
Oh, of course he was.
Andy abandoned the run way too much, but he's learned now.
Yeah.
He's learned.
Look what Pacheco gets hurt, and they're like, all right, Kareem Hunt, you're going to carry the ball 20 times a game. Like, he's learned a lot. And so I'm glad, to your point, that Kellen has not panicked and gone away from the run in certain games. Now, again, Saquon Barkley helps you out, and that's why you do what you're doing right now, despite what history may tell you.
I can't tell you how good I feel about this team. I mean, I just feel so good about them because I just think this defense is – I love a great defense.
Oh, yeah.
And, yes, it is a different – as I heard Connor, again, talk about on the pregame show the other day.
You're a big listener you are.
I love you guys. On the pregame show, you can do a great job, and I'm glad that I'm listening to you do it. Is the idea of Connor's, like, for him, sleek, throwing the football is like the MO for him.
It's more fun.
It's like for more fun for him to watch. And to me, I go, damn, I want to see my team play defense and run the football.
I like seeing try to stop us.
I love that. I mean, now there's nothing I don't believe me. Seeing Devontae Smith and AJ Brown do their thing is beautiful, but I'll always love to see them bully people.
You know what I like seeing? What's best for my team. And this is no shot at Jalen Hurts. I don't want Jalen Hurts throwing the ball 40 times.
And Jalen understands it now.
He's okay with it. He clearly just wants to win. Now, there's some quarterbacks, like if you told me that Patrick Mahomes is on this team, yeah, all right. I'd want him to drop back 40 times and throw the football to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. But that's not who Jalen Hurts is. That's okay to say. And Saquon Barkley is a better running back than 99% of the league, if not 100% of the league.
Can I say this to you right now? A little exercise, real quick. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jared Goff. 3 big opponents that you might face to win a championship. Who's more likely to make a big mistake throwing the football? Jalen Hurts or any one of those 3 guys?
I'm taking Josh Allen and Mahomes over Hurts.
To make a mistake, though? They're more likely to throw an interception.
Well,
exponentially.
Josh Allen's been really, really
what
good
he's got?
this year.
What's he have this year? 6?
I think he's right around
Maybe got
Hurts,
5.
isn't he?
And Mahomes in the postseason
but I will still take.
I'm still taking Mahomes, dude.
No,
I'm still taking,
to make a mistake throwing the football.
I think Hurts would make a mistake before Patrick.
100%.
I do not believe that.
All right, coming up
I'm
next.
going to bring you guys on board by the time it's over.
No,
you're not.
That's not going to happen. 9 o'clock hours ahead where we reset the show and we bask in the demise of the San Francisco 49ers. It is Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A big Thursday night game to keep an eye on. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Popeyes. It's football season in Philly, so you got to have some grub. Popeyes is just the drawing for any fan of the birds. We're talking wings, baby, so fly to Popeyes Fly and fill up on wings in 7 delicious flavors. Yes, we're talking about a big-time football game that doesn't involve the Philadelphia Eagles. Tonight, Lions-Packers. They're going to be playing at Ford Field, and Detroit, if they drop this game at home against a tough divisional opponent, it opens the door for the Eagles to have a path to the 1 seed. A Lions loss and an Eagles win Sunday would jump the Eagles into the top spot in the NFC for the time being. Still be time to go, but that would be a big step for the Eagles to getting home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Now, the Eagles have to take care of their own business, and they're taking on the Panthers on Sunday. Nick Sirianni talked about focusing on that team, even if they're not the strongest opponent.
I think that would be malpractice by us as coaches and as players if we were up for some games and not up for some games. We know that this is a talented team that is continuing to play good football.
Now, good football may be a bit of a stretch, but they've been playing better lately, and the Eagles will have to take care of business. They look like they should have Devontae Smith back, who was a full participant in practice yesterday. And Darius Slay, well, he was limited, which is a step in the right direction in concussion protocol. We've got the Sixers falling to the Magic 106-102 last night, ending their short 2-game win streak. And the Flyers back on the ice after a 4-day layoff. They'll play the Florida Panthers tonight at 7 p.m. You can hear that game live here on The Fanatic. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
Bill Colarulo.
He is a
I am just absolutely enjoying. But before we reset the show, how does John read my mind? I guess it's because we work together enough.
Every day, yeah.
So there's a balloon behind John for our YouTube audience that John randomly found on the street and brought in.
It was literally sitting on whatever the side road is.
St. Asaph's Road?
Yeah, St. Asaph's.
That's a street balloon?
Yeah, it was a street balloon. Somebody left it right at the entrance to our complex.
But it's an Eagles balloon.
And it was an Eagles balloon, so I took it and brought it into the studio.
I'm going to guess, because there's an Acme down the street. Would not be surprised if maybe wind blew it a little bit.
Well, it's got the little paperclip on it.
Yeah, but I mean, how hard is that? Strong winds, man.
It could be.
It's fall.
That's
it's
pretty
autumn.
awesome.
It's autumn.
I loved it.
Autumn wind is a pirate.
It's good luck. It's good
the
luck.
autumn wind is a raider.
It's good
No,
luck.
the autumn wind is a pirate.
What are you talking about?
The autumn wind is a pirate.
Okay. That's look it up.
The autumn wind?
It's the Raiders home thing. The autumn wind is a raider.
Autumn wind is a.
I thought it was the autumn wind is a pirate.
Incorrect.
The autumn wind is a raider. The autumn wind is a raider.
And where am I
Football
getting the pirate from?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because the autumn wind is a pirate is also something.
Okay, let's not get caught
the
up
autumn
in
wind
this.
is the autumn wind is a raider. By the way.
All right.
Yeah, that is.
I could have sworn.
Pillaging just for fun.
That's good work.
There you go.
Facenda. Anyways,
knock you
but anyways,
round.
the Eagles balloon is here, and I was about to punch it, and then John said, "Did you punch it?" And I was like, "No, I can't punch it because it's an Eagle balloon." But why is a balloon so punchable?
I don't know.
It's
He
just
likes
what you do.
punching balloons.
Why do you click the tongs together when you pick them up? Why?
It's just a thing you do.
I do that every time.
Why do you,
I do
when you
too.
pick up the electric drill, hit the button?
You have to.
Hey, listen.
You got to, man.
Just guys being dudes. Punch a balloon.
Anyways, all right. Here's what we're talking about today. What can we still learn about this Eagles team, and what can they improve on? Is there anything that is still in your mind? First quarter slow starts.
Are we
aside,
taking that off the table?
Let's take that one off the table.
Even though it is the biggest glaring thing.
Yeah.
When you're the worst team in the NFL at it.
Part of me thinks it's the only thing, but I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think what else.
I think you might be right.
What else could there be? Like, other than A.J. Brown, like, who is Hurts throwing the football to? Like, Devontae Smith, if his number's called upon, I imagine that it's going to be still going to work out for him.
It's an interesting question. If you were saying it, there's nothing glaring. Let's put it that way. If you take first quarter scoring off the table, there is absolutely nothing glaring with this team. And by the way, on all three levels of the defense, there's nothing that you say, wow, that's a problem. That could be an issue.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, other than maybe obviously injuries, but like we're not doing that. You know?
How about they're even, which is crazy to me. They are. Do you know where they are in sacks in the NFL?
Are they top 10?
Yes.
Ooh.
Do you know where they are though?
7th. Just a guess.
6th.
All right, I was pretty
They're
close.
tied for 6th. That to me is sort of ridiculous because you brought in Huff to be your big pass rush acquisition. And honestly,
it was my biggest concern was the pass rush. And for the first 4 or 5 games, they weren't getting to the quarterback. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm curious, so they have how many sacks this year?
36. Do you know how many they had last year?
I don't know.
43 all year.
43.
Yeah.
How
all year
many
long.
have the
You
Eagles
got 5
had?
games to get past that.
How many have the Eagles had in, like, the last 6 weeks?
Oh, yeah, they've been on more of a tear.
Because that's the thing. The first 4 or 5 weeks, I don't think they had more than 5 sacks. Just a guess. I'll try to look it up.
I'm more excited, honestly, too, at the Birds climbing up the turnover margin, which I think is a real stat, that differential, and really matters. It's one of the reasons why the Bills and the Steelers are as great as they are. Bills are plus 17 in turnover differential. Steelers plus 15. The Birds were down below. Remember, they've been digging themselves out. Now they're plus 3, but they're moving up the charts. And they could end up a top 5 team, top 6 team in turnover margin.
Right.
Which would be great.
Yeah, it would be great.
There's nothing glaring with this team right now that you say, this will be the Achilles heel. because it's not.
No, it really isn't.
It's not.
And then the other conversation we've been having is why do people feel the need to lead with the negative, lead with the sky is going to fall, or the shoe is going to drop. The other shoe is going to drop. Sometimes there's no shoe. Like maybe there isn't a shoe to drop. Have you ever looked at it that way? Like people always look for the shoe to drop when there might not be a shoe in front of you.
Like I don't know. I think so. I am truly convinced, and I've experienced some of these people in my life that are not happy unless something's wrong. They're not happy unless something's unhappy.
Why?
I don't know. It's like if they don't have some sort of a angst going on, if they don't have some sort of like something to overcome or something to complain about or something, they're not happy. And I really believe there's a lot of that exists in this fan base. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think it's a learned behavior.
I think that's part of it. I mean, again,
That is definitely
I knew the term bum before I was 10.
Well, that works.
Because of my dad.
I'm okay with the bum.
He raised me well.
I'm okay with a good bum.
By the way, first 4 weeks of the season, the Eagles had 6 total sacks. 2 against the Packers, 1 against the Falcons, 1 against the Saints, 2 against the Bucks. Then they had 5 against the Browns, post-bye, 8 against the Giants, 1 against the Bengals, and then since then they've had more than 1 in every game. 2 against the Jags, 3 against the Cowboys, 3 against the Commanders, 5 against the Rams, 3 against the Ravens. So the bye week was everything for this team.
It was everything.
It was everything for the offense, finding a way to change that fit best with this team, these players, and then Vic Fangio going, all right, how do I get to the quarterback?
Jalen Hurts, highest completion percentage of his career.
Love that.
Jalen Hurts, highest yards per attempt for his career, average completion. Jalen Hurts is on pace with 4 rushing touchdowns. He will have his all-time best rushing touchdown season. I mean, it's been an amazing year for Jalen. He's going to match close to it the 2022 numbers he had rushing the football, and he's going to exceed it in touchdowns. He had 13 rushing touchdowns when they went to the Super Bowl. He's got 12 already this year. I mean, Jalen Hurts gets a lot of crap. He really does. He gets a lot of garbage thrown his way.
Oh, you want to hear some? Because we have an unhinged Jalen Hurts text.
Okay.
Do we really?
Oh, yeah.
All right, what's it come from?
All right. So Joe in the Northeast texts in and says, the love for Jalen is disgusting. You guys are overrating him. He can't throw his team back into a game. He's looking great because he can just hand it to Saquon Barkley.
Really? Does he remember the Super Bowl? Did he watch the Super Bowl? Now, the thing is, I did a pregame show for the Super Bowl in the Northeast from 12 to 3 that day.
I was there. I had a watch party that day.
It was great. A lot of fun. And so I know the game was on there.
Game was on. It happened.
So if you didn't see that the better passer in that Super Bowl, toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes, was Jalen Hurts, you didn't pay attention. I'm just going to tell you, you didn't pay attention. What they need to do this year to win, they're doing to win. He's unselfish as hell.
Now hold on, and let's have this conversation. If you listen to the show, we have called Jalen Hurts a top 10 quarterback, but we've not called him a top 3.
No, we'd call him around. We were like, I think we came in at 7.5.
Yeah, and so
we were like, that's where we ended up.
So you're right. They're not winning football games because they're reliant on his arms, and we haven't needed to really see it yet. You mentioned the Packers game was really the only game where you relied on his arm
to pass
to win the football
right.
game. In this winning streak, you have not had to, but that should not take away from the guy, especially when it is time to drop back and pass. His completion percentage is through the roof. 2 turnover-worthy plays in 8 games.
By the way,
8 games.
I mean,
like that's good. And look, again, game manager. People hear that and they think that's a negative term. I think that's a positive term. If my quarterback is going out there, utilizing the weapons that he has at his disposal and is not hurting your team is turning the football over like he was doing in the first 4 weeks of the season. To that texter, what would you rather have? First 4 weeks of Jalen Hurts where he wasn't just handing off the football and he was dropping back, throwing the ball 30 times, throwing interceptions, turning the ball over? Or would you like the version of Jalen Hurts that we've seen during this 8-game winning streak where he has utilized everything at his disposal and has made the smart throw instead of trying to make the highlight reel throw that led to turnovers. What would you rather have, wins or losses?
I truly don't understand the mentality as a fan. I don't. I look at him and say, Jalen Hurts is delivering exactly what they want from him, and the efficiency is what everybody craved going into the season. Everybody wanted him to not turn the ball over, to be efficient, to run when it was smart to run. Jalen Hurts been a hell of a quarterback this year, I think, and I will look at it right now as that surprises me that he is on a pace for a career high in carries. Would you have guessed that?
No,
I would not.
No, not really. No.
He's on pace for a career high.
Yeah.
If he's averaging right now 10 carries a game, which can include, by the way, scrambles.
Yeah.
That count for positive yardage or negative yardage. Right now, if he finishes that out, he will beat his most carries, which was 2022, by 9.
Yeah. And
I think he's going to get shut down. I truly believe that in the fourth quarter of games, there's going to be some games here down the stretch where he's not playing.
Right.
So some of these numbers will never come to fruition, and it's going to end up screwing me on my Jalen Hurts.
Your yardage.
My yardage numbers. But it's been pretty amazing.
Now, I'm thinking back to some preseason conversations we had. I remember asking for Jalen Hurts to cut down the turnovers, as we all did.
We begged.
I said cut the interceptions from 15 to 9. I didn't think that was drastic. It was 6 less interceptions and under 10. He's only at 5. I expect him to not even reach the number 9 at this point. He had 9 fumbles last year. So total 24 turnovers. He's had, 3 this year?
Dallas,
Who?
bad snap against Green Bay.
He has 7 fumbles, but I don't know how many have officially been lost. And remember, 2 of them were on snaps. It wasn't.
Jalen numbers. I'll give them to you right here. Jalen has fumbled 3 times.
Okay,
1 was lost. It was the.
No. He's lost multiple fumbles. He lost one in the Dallas game. He lost one on the bad snap against Green Bay. Those are at least 2 right there.
But I'm not going to call him on that one.
No, I got you, but it's still
I'm looking at his official numbers for the year right now. I mean, the Eagles list him as having 3 fumbles, 1 lost. I'm looking at ESPN.com and the Eagles site. It says 3. It doesn't seem right, Connor.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Maybe they don't count the snaps on Hurts.
Yes.
That might be what it is.
That's what it is.
And neither do I. I don't blame him for Cam Jurgens' miscommunication in Sao Paulo in week 1.
It was Cam Jurgens, by the way, the only second error of the year with him, the miscommunication on Sunday on the tush push.
The tush push, yeah.
That Jalen saved his ass on the goal line.
He did.
That was a
heck of a play.
Picking it up and still forcing your way through a pile.
Are you kidding me?
It's unbelievable.
That's the thing, though. Just what happens there. Yeah, heck of a play. That's wild. And he doesn't get credit for that. Like taking another player's error and making it something great.
I do also think the tush push kills a little bit of what Jalen Hurts is.
Explain that.
People hate it. It's Joel Embiid in the free throw line.
Exactly. It's everybody. Michael Thomas used to be slant point. Jamal Adams used to be blitz
point. But you know what?
Jalen Hurts
you're
is
really good
push
at
point.
it. Jalen Hurts squats 600 pounds. Joel Embiid became an 85% free throw shooter. They worked on that craft.
Right. It just gives you something to negate what he does well.
If you're
he's a tush push merchant.
If you're not an Eagles fan, right?
Like Saquon.
Or sometimes if you are an Eagles fan.
That's true.
Saquon has 11 rushing touchdowns. And Jalen has 13.
And I imagine 8 of them are tush pushes.
And the thing is, though, as was brought up, Saquon Barkley was brought down at the 1-yard line 4 times.
Yes, that's right. My fantasy team has feasted off of that.
So those could have been 15 touchdowns for Saquon there. And I wonder, you know how we talk about the individual awards thing? Did they start to think about that at all with him to try to get Saquon an MVP?
Well, that would mean most of the voters are smart and critical thinking and everything like that.
No, the Eagles. The Eagles think about it. Getting him some of those 1-yarders, surprising and going with Saquon instead of the tush push.
They could have done it last week and they didn't.
They didn't.
I don't think so, man. I think they just want to score. Nick Sirianni literally talked about being boring. He doesn't care about being boring.
No.
By the way, vindication.
What's that?
The autumn wind is a pirate.
Where?
What?
They eventually say the autumn wind is a Raider. But the first line is the autumn wind is a pirate blustering in from sea with a roll-licking song. He sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. So the original poem was from Mary Jane Carr, who was born in 1895. Her poem was The Pirate Wind.
But the song is called The Autumn Wind is a Raider.
Right, but the first line, which is what I was quoting, the autumn wind is a pirate, and then eventually the final, I don't know, how do you speak?
Stanza.
Final stanza, thank you.
You're welcome.
They say that the autumn wind is a raider.
I thought the song was always The Autumn Wind is a Raider.
Nope.
It was initially a poem turned into a song by the Raiders because Al Davis liked it, I think.
Yes, but it started with the autumn wind is a pirate. Listen,
well, we're both right.
You're talking to a guy that, opened the vault for 5 years.
We're good.
Well, you were bringing up that 50s movie the other day. And I didn't know
Sunset
it.
Boulevard.
You and Amy knew it. I didn't know it.
All right, let's bring it back to the modern day where the 49ers stink.
Yes. So the demise of the 49ers, I am taking a lot of joy in just because I remember how annoying those 49ers fans were and the players. The players were the worst of it.
Not McCaffrey.
Deebo Samuel was. No, you know what? I'm not letting Christian McCaffrey off the hook.
Oh, because of Kay Adams' interview?
In 2022, he said something about if we had a fourth quarterback.
That was Kay Adams. That was the
and
Kay
he was
Adams
on it.
interview.
So
he may have been distracted.
If I remember, I don't blame him. McCaffrey, Samuel, Ayuk, the kicker. Was it Robbie Gould at the time?
Probably.
Robbie Gould, because everybody has a podcast. Robbie Gould complained about it on his podcast.
He has a podcast?
Yes. There were players on the 49ers defense. Like the list ran long about the having a fourth quarterback thing. And it's like, guys, like how many quarterbacks do you want? How many quarterbacks do you want in your roster? Like it's not the Eagles' fault that they literally took out 2 of your quarterbacks. They were just playing the game.
Have better offensive linemen.
Yes, exactly.
Like, how about playing better on the offensive line that your quarterback wasn't a pinata?
But watching them fall apart this year has been just so joyous for me. Now, of course, a lot of it...
And you didn't even live with Kyle Shanahan.
Yes, that's right. Of course, a lot of it is injuries, and that
And
sucks.
I feel bad about that.
Yeah. And oh, by the way...
A little bit.
What happened with Trent Williams this past weekend is horrible, and I would never wish that on anybody.
No.
But, when you watch the rest of the team and you just see them, it seems like they're just done. And the question is...
Have they rolled over?
I think they've rolled over, but the question is...
2 blowouts in a row?
What do they do with Purdy? Like, he has not...
Pay him.
You have to pay him.
But he has not uplifted that team this year.
Okay, wait a minute. So
I'm
you're
not
saying
paying
no?
that guy a dime.
They didn't pay. They moved on from Trey Lance as quick as they could.
Okay.
Garoppolo, they refused to pay.
So
I
you're telling
wonder
me-
what they do.
So you're telling me you think that they may let Purdy walk? Or if they can, I think they're going to have to, though, at the very least, they are franchising Brock Purdy.
At the very least.
At the very
and they
least.
did that with Garoppolo.
They're not letting him walk.
Right, but they're not giving him a big-time deal.
I think they will.
He's not getting $250 million.
I think he's getting Jalen Hurts' contract.
Then they'd be making him.
Dude, I could find you...
Whoa. Really?
Yeah.
I could find you Brock Purdy at Walmart. I'm sorry.
Wow.
What has he done this year?
That might be a little too
What has he
far.
done? Yeah, it's too far, but I'm saying it. Like, what has he done this year?
He's also been without McCaffrey.
Okay, cool.
Without his offensive, 2 or 3 offensive linemen.
What does Baker Mayfield have?
What would we do to Jalen Hurts if he was struggling without his weapons? We'd say, wow, he can only win with his weapons.
Yeah,
we
but
I
wouldn't say get rid of Jalen Hurts.
No, we wouldn't say get rid of him.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You wouldn't say
so
pay
what
him
you'd be saying
$200
is,
million if he hadn't gotten paid
hey,
yet.
I'll bet anything in the world that they're going to pay him.
And that's stupid.
I don't believe it's stupid. When the guy has his team, he wins.
Okay, well,
he wins really well, and he wins very well.
If you're making $250 million, you are the team.
So
you
is
better
Jalen
be the
the
reason
team?
they win. He should be.
Jalen's not the reason they win, is he?
Well, they got lucky that they got an amazing running back.
Now,
what I'm saying is, no, but you just said if you're paying Jalen Hurts, then he's got to be the reason you win. He's not.
Nick Sirianni told you Jalen's a big part of the reason we're winning.
Well, that's
how great would this
But
be?
he's not the reason they win.
They don't pay Brock Purdy, and then they draft his brother. I didn't know he had a brother.
I didn't know it either.
Who was a quarterback at Nevada.
What's his name? Turdy Purdy?
Well, his legal name is Preston Purdy, but he goes by Chuba. Chuba Purdy.
Preston Purdy.
Could you imagine if they moved on from Brock for Preston?
Now, Brock. Now, that's a soap opera name. That is a soap opera.
I just don't know what the Niners do, man. And you know what? It's not my problem, and I love it.
We love it.
All right, coming up next, we're going to be speaking with Fran. Coming up at 9:35, Coach Dunphy, because they got the Big Five Classic coming up this weekend, and also our man Michael Westwood will talk about some picks as well. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Some good injury news for the Birds. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by PJ Wellahands. Join the club. If you haven't signed up yet, why not? Become a PJ's Pub Club member and enjoy half-price wings every Tuesday. Plus, earn points for great PJ's rewards. Free to join at PJ's. The Eagles got some good injury news on the report yesterday. Their first of the week. Devontae Smith listed as a full participant in practice, so he seems set to make his return. He hasn't played in 2 weeks due to a hamstring injury. Darius Slay was limited in practice, which is a step up from his previous designation as out due to concussion protocol. So that seems like he's trending to be back on the field for Sunday's game as well. Sunday, 1 p.m. at Lincoln Financial Field, the Eagles will match up with the Carolina Panthers, and Nick Sirianni is not taking those Panthers lightly.
I think that would be malpractice by us as coaches and as players if we were up for some games and not up for some games. We know that this is a talented team that is continuing to play good football.
They certainly have been playing better lately, those Panthers, but the Eagles still the heavily favored team. We also have a big Thursday night game tonight. The Lions host the Packers. The Lions lost and the Eagles win Sunday would jump the Eagles into the top spot in the NFC for the time being. The Sixers fell to the Magic 106-102 last night, snapping their short 2-game win streak. The Flyers had 4 days off, but they're back on the ice against the Florida Panthers tonight after that 4-day layoff. 7 p.m. puck drop, 97.5 The Fanatic, where you can hear the game right here. This update's also brought to you by PayPal. Go ahead and check them out. Don't just pay. PayPal. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
ESPN.
Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to talk to Coach Fran Dunphy.
We like him. He's an ex-Temple guy. We like him.
Yeah.
Even though he's with LaSalle now and he's playing in the championship game.
I'm gonna not excuse him for beating Temple the other day in a game that I thought maybe the Temple men's basketball team should have won. But they did not, and LaSalle beat them. And so LaSalle will be playing in the Big Five Classic Championship game. And the Big Five Classic is coming up. It's Saturday. I went last year. I had an absolute blast. So if you're looking for something to do on Saturday, you got some time to kill, you get to watch 3 games of basketball. And it was a lot of fun. My dad and I went. We got there at halftime of the first game, which was the Drexel-Villanova game, where Drexel upset Villanova. And then I stayed for, I believe it was Penn and LaSalle, which was a buzzer beater to win it. And then I saw the Temple St. Joe's. The championship game was the most boring one out of the 3, but it was a lot of fun. So if you're looking for something to do, check out the Big Five Championship Classic this weekend. So we'll talk to Fran coming up in a few minutes. But first, Let's head to the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. I missed our conversation with him last week. He was off for the holidays, even though he was still winning during the holiday season for Thanksgiving. Our man Michael Westwood from GBIWins.com. Make sure you call his free record line, 1-800-885-2525. Again, 1-800-885-2525. Michael, I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving, not just in terms of what you were eating, but I also know that you had a pretty nice Thanksgiving betting on football.
Good morning, my bird family. Thank you for having me again, and you're 100% right. I promised my clients, promised them that I would go 3-0 on Thanksgiving, and I did. And I also went 7-2 on the weekend. It was incredible. But let's talk about this Bird team. They are absolutely on fire. I mean, I'm so impressed with what they've done right now. They dismantled the Baltimore Ravens the other day. So the bottom line is this. It's all good for all of us, but let's talk about what's going on this evening. I've got something absolutely incredible. The line right now is right on point. This evening you have Green Bay playing Detroit, and I've got tremendous information on this game. All your listeners have to do right now is dial 1-800-885-2525. Again, that's 1-800-885-2525. You'll be connected to my free recorded hotline, and you're going to get, as always, my free selection this evening on tonight's Detroit Green Bay battle. It's absolutely free, and it's on my free recorded comp line.
All right, I want something else out of you. This is like a Thursday morning shakedown. I want something on the SEC title game this weekend because I love NFL football. But so many of our listeners, they love the college game as well, and there are huge games coming up this weekend. So what are you going to sweeten the pot a little bit?
You want to know something? I'm glad that you brought this up. I was going to say this before you say it, but my first 100 callers right now, first 100 callers are going to get my SEC championship matchup between Georgia and Texas. It's absolutely free, and it'll be on my free recorded comp line. So, once again, this evening's game is what I am keying on. Tonight's game is absolutely incredible. The line right now is 3.5 points, and the over-under is 51.5. And you want to know something, guys? I think that the handicappers and all of Vegas have this number correct. But I've got the winner tonight. It's absolutely free. Green Bay playing Detroit. Dial my 800 now, 1-800-885-2525. Again, that's 1-800-885-2525. There's no sales pitches. There's no hype. Try us out. It's absolutely free on my free recorded comp line. And once again, my first 100 callers is also going to get the SEC championship game on Saturday. Georgia playing Texas. It's free. It's on my free recorded hotline.
And in case people need more reason why to call Michael Westwood and the team at GBIWins.com, 3-0 on Thanksgiving, 7-2 over the weekend following the Thanksgiving matchups. And you mentioned the SEC championship game with bowl games right around the corner. You went 34-6 last season picking these bowl games. So you have had a lot of success, not just this season, but in years of betting on football, both at the college level and the NFL level. We appreciate it, man, as always. I'm glad you had a great Thanksgiving.
Listen, it's all about football right now. We're going down the stretch like we discussed. Just make sure that you are on my information tonight. 1-800-885-2525. I'll speak to you guys next week.
You're the man, Michael. Talk to you next week. All right, there's our man Michael Westwood on the Comcast Business Hotline. Again, the phone number, 1-800-885-2525, 1-800-885-2525. Michael Westwood of GBIWins.com. Now let's go back to the Comcast Business Hotline.
We like this guy a lot.
Yes, we do like this.
As two Temple alums, we like this guy a lot, even though he's now part of the enemy.
Well, and let's face it, if you're just a hoop head and a Philadelphia native, because we went to Temple, but I didn't go to Temple until I turned 18. I was a fan of Philadelphia basketball, and Fran Dunphy is one of the most respected people when it comes to Philadelphia basketball, and he joins us now on the Comcast Business Hotline. Coach, good morning. How are we today?
Yeah, doing fine, guys. How are you?
We're excited. We're excited for the Big Five Classic down at the this weekend, which is going to be absolutely awesome. And you're going to be playing in the championship game, Coach.
Yeah, we feel very fortunate. We had two good wins against Drexel and Temple, and feel very fortunate to be in it. And we got our hands full with the St. Joe Hawks. So I hope it turns out to be as good a day it was last year at this time. And I think it's as good as we can get in terms of the Big Five matchups, and I think it's a good day to celebrate Philadelphia college basketball.
Right, and I want to talk about that. I know you are currently the coach of LaSalle, but you've made your way around Philadelphia, and that's why you're one of the most respected basketball people here in the city. I was at the Big Five Classic last year. I took my dad, and we got there for the second half of the first game, then stayed throughout your contest, and then I stayed for the Temple St. Joe's championship game. When it comes to celebrating Big Five basketball, they did it right last year, and I'm glad that it's back for another year.
I would agree. Again, if you would ask me, would I like to see a total round robin and play everybody? Yeah, I would. But I don't know that we can get that done at this time in the college athletic world. And, even if you said to another major metropolitan area, you should do what Philadelphia does, you could never put this together. I don't know that Philadelphia could put it together other than they did it in 1955, but you couldn't do it in today's world. It just doesn't work. But this is as good an alternative I think we can have at this point, and so we'll celebrate it as best we can.
And, Coach, unbeaten in the new stadium, too. How about that?
Yeah, it's really been a great shot in the arm for the university, and we've been lucky enough to win a couple close games, and so it's been terrific. I think it's bringing the campus closer together, and if we can continue to play well, that'd be great for everybody.
Got a couple sellouts too already, and it's been a while since LaSalle's seen that.
Yeah, it's a real nice environment. The 3,000 seats, you're right on top of the action, and people have commented how great it is and how good they feel coming into the building. So we're very grateful for that.
How proud are you of Philadelphia basketball? Of course, starting with your squad. You got some great players on there, but just Philadelphia basketball in general. We know the success that Villanova has had under head coach Jay Wright, when he was still the head coach at Villanova. But it looks like you're starting to see a little bit of a bounce back from other schools also within the Big Five for bigger picture discussions as well.
Well, I hope so. I hope you're absolutely correct, and I hope that it becomes a very even fight each time out, each game that's played. We're in an interesting time in college athletics. The transfer portal is essentially free agency. There's no salary cap, and there's not a lot of governance telling us all what to do. So we're going to have to balance this thing out over the next couple of years, and I hope that the big winners are the athletes and the fans, and people just get a kick out of college athletics. And I think that's the biggest thing we can all hope for.
Well, Coach, listen, we really appreciate you coming on today. Good luck on Saturday.
Yeah,
Again,
I'm rooting for Fran Dunphy over St. Joe's any day of the week. Any day of the week.
Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it very much, and love Philadelphia college basketball. I had a chance to watch it when I was a kid, and then I played it, and then I got a chance to coach it. Nobody's luckier than me.
You're a legend.
Thanks,
You're a legend in the Philadelphia basketball scene. Thanks a lot, Coach. We'll talk to you again down the road.
Thanks, guys.
There he is, Coach Fran Dunphy. Seriously, a legend. I mean,
he's a
Penn, Temple, and now LaSalle, and bringing life back to the LaSalle program. That
I think if Villanova was smart, they'd hire him.
Well, yeah. I mean,
he's got to go through Drexel first.
Yeah. That's,
no. You got to go to Villanova first.
Does he make the entire tour?
He very well could.
Question.
Listen, by the way, time left. He could.
By the way, we got us versus Gunn on Saturday too. Temple Nova. Gunn, who is a Temple grad.
Yeah. So how does
for Villanova? It's
how
so
does
pathetic.
he handle that?
It's so he's a dork. How do you think he handles it?
He just said, "I'll be there in my Nova."
He
gear.
goes to Walmart. He buys a Villanova shirt, pretends to be a Villanova fan.
That's a violation.
It's a terrible violation.
You can't do the whole "I went to Temple, but I'm a Villanova fan."
You can't. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it just makes me sick. I thought more of Gunner.
No, I didn't. That's your mistake. That's your mistake, dude.
All right, coming up next, the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show, and much more on Kincade and Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic.
Matvey Michkov.
Back into the corner to Michkov, side of the net. He scores! Matvey Michkov from an
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. By the way, be careful driving. The snow squalls are hitting.
Are they? They're hitting in other
not
places.
Out here, but
no,
you're
there's some places all
them.
over the place. People saying,
believe it or not, people listen outside of Ballackinwood, John.
Driving in snow.
Yeah.
So but it's not laying on the ground.
No, but it's just the vision.
But it is
visuals,
that it was quite intense. So
I'll
get
be out there drifting.
Yeah, you will be.
Well, be careful
Connor will
if you
be
are
driving. Shirt off, roof down.
No. He's not doing shirt. No, that guy, when it comes to the cold.
No, if he wants to play Billy Big Balls, he would.
No, he was not doing. No. Connor is always steadfast to let us
up.
know that he is not
anti-cold.
He's anti-cold. Yeah. There's no such thing as enjoying the cold weather.
Give me to June.
Last night, Connor was making fun of me last night. I thought the Sixers game was at 9:30 yesterday.
7.
Or 7:30. Or 7. The game was at 7:30.
What was it there, Pop-Up?
Sorry. I thought the game was at 7.
Okay.
It was at 7:30. I pulled in at 6:50. And I was like, well, now what do I do? So I went for a walk outside. And Connor thought I was losing my mind. So did Ray. Ray thought I was having
Yeah, dude, you just wandered around South Philly for like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Wasn't it really cold out last night?
Yeah, but you know me. I don't mind the cold.
Yeah, I know you don't mind. I don't mind it either.
So,
I go out and
I went for a 30-minute walk.
My neighbors think
around
I'm
the
nuts.
ball. I walked around the ballpark, walked by the link.
Guess what? I think you're both nuts.
My neighbors think I'm nuts with it.
I
love to walk.
I took it all in.
Love it.
Beautiful. All right. You know what else is beautiful? This show. Time now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. 3 best minutes from today's show brought to us by Vonsi.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
What can we still learn about this football team? Like, at this point, I think we feel pretty good about the secondary, no matter who they're playing. We feel pretty good about the defensive line, whether it's a run-first offense or a pass-first offense. They're getting to the quarterback. They're not letting Derrick Henry, of all people, run all over them. So, like, the defense, I feel pretty good saying there's no more questions about them.
Could you create more turnovers? Could that be something we see more in the last 5 games where the turnover numbers go up? Could we see the Eagles win, and I believe it's coming Sunday? I think Sunday is the laugher.
Like the 17-point victory?
Yeah. Remember 2022, 2017? It's the only thing that's not congruent to this year's team. Those teams won a lot of laughing.
Yes, they did.
I am expecting Sunday we are going to see an Eagles laugh. I really do.
I like that.
I think they're going to make Bryce Young look every bit the rookie that he looked.
I said earlier in the week,
mentality.
I'm expecting them to get a touchdown at some point. Somebody's going to score a touchdown, either a pick six, a fumble recovery for a touchdown, or it's going to be a punt return.
You realize the genesis of our conversations, though, for the Eagles now. Once they passed that Baltimore game and Rams game, that was a really impressive 2-game test.
Yeah.
And now our conversations are about the fine-tuning. But what's the little thing we want them to get better at? The major worries have been lifted off our shoulders.
Absolutely. You look at the schedule, and you pointed something out to me yesterday. The secondary is done with tests.
The tests are over. Like the secondary test, look, they're going to still have to face a Cowboy team that still doesn't have a quarterback that can throw it.
Right.
But other than that, the tests are over. I believe for this team as far as for a secondary. But for this defense, I think the major challenges are over. And they passed with flying colors.
And so
over and over again.
We complain about certain things that I go, man, I get it. I wish we were winning championships and becoming dynasties. We shouldn't have so few championships in our lifetimes as a major market. I've seen Tampa have better success in sports than Philadelphia. Like, that should not be the case. But in terms of overall success, if we're putting championships aside, it's been pretty damn good in our entire lifetime. And I'm talking about Connor and I. The plan is to not have these guys playing back-to-backs, specifically Paul George and Joel Embiid. At what point, and I know we've already talked about it, but at what point do the Sixers say, all right, we need to be a little bit more urgent? Because it's great that you won 2 nights ago. You got win number 5 on the season.
What are they now, 5-15?
You got handed your 15th loss yesterday. You also played a team coming off of a back-to-back. I picked the Sixers to win yesterday at the end of the show.
Yes.
And they had every chance to. It came to the very end of the game, and they ended up losing by 4. If Paul George plays in yesterday's game,
they win.
They probably win that game.
No, they win.
And they improve to 6-14. Not 6-6. 6-14. You're 5-15 this year. We're at the point now where it's NFC Championship game. Like, if they don't make the NFC Championship game,
huge disappointment.
Like, they choked a game because they will probably be favorites in any of the rounds leading up to the Lions game if they don't get the 1 seed.
They will absolutely be favored in every single game until they would play on the road.
Right, absolutely. And so when we say this stuff, it almost feels like we don't have to talk about the team team itself anymore. But we do.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are still things that they need to get better at. We've talked about the first quarter scoring, the early scoring, a couple of times this week. Is that going to keep them from winning big? I'm not 100% sure. They're on an 8-game winning streak, and the first quarter scoring hasn't gotten better since the bye week. And yet they've won 8 straight games, and they've beaten a team like the Bengals who puts up a lot of points. They've beaten the Baltimore Ravens this past week. They beat the LA Rams, right, without having this great first quarter offensively. So there's still a lot to learn about this Eagles team.
You know what I love what's gone away, though, Andrew? And I think it's gone away on social media. It's gone away from our callers and our texters. Well, I need to see them do this. I need to watch this team do that. Nah, those talking points for the last few weeks are gone.
Except for the first quarter points.
No.
We got that. We still got that earlier in the week.
That's something to work. By the way, I'll trumpet that too.
Yeah.
I think it's something worth talking about. But to me, right now, you're talking about a blemish on a really attractive woman.
Yeah.
You're saying, man, but she's got that little like zit on her forehead. No, she's beautiful. Just say it. They're beautiful. And it's just a matter of fine tuning and getting things fixed over these next 3 games. Not 5. 3.
Yeah, because toward the last 2 weeks,
I don't think the last 2 are going to mean much.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. 3 best minutes from today's show brought to us by Von C. Brewing Company in Norristown. Check out their Key 3, the OG Pills legendary Philly Lager, which is a gold medal winner at the 2023 World Beer Cup for the best American Pilsner. The Walking on Clouds, Von C's flagship hazy IPA, and a delicious one at that. And, Johnny?
They have the best one, the Vienna Lager. The 2-time Best of Pennsylvania winner with all the German ingredients.
Check them out.
Check out VonCBrewing.com.
Connor Thomas, you have another hero.
Yeah, who?
And it's, again, another violation. I hate it. Alan Bowman is the quarterback at Oklahoma State. He's won his appeal.
Oh, yeah, he gets...
And has been granted his 8th year of eligibility.
My guy.
This dude will be 25 years old next season. By the way, he's 24 and his team is 3-9. So it's not like he's good.
No, it's not like he's good.
That's even better.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Hang him up.
No,
Let this guy go at 500 till he's 50.
How about grow up?
Hang him up, brother.
How about grow up? Go join the real world, dude.
Johnny, never grow up.
Go, please.
Play Peter Pan the rest of your life.
He'll be turning 25 next season, and he'll still be the starting quarterback for the Oklahoma State Cowboys to win 3 games.
Hi. How you doing? I'm 25, and I'm in the bars.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
What if he's in the bars?
Yo, where's the freshman party at?
Yeah, where's the freshman at?
All right,
like now it's borderline creepo.
Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join our partner, FT Young Heating and Air Conditioning, and make a donation today to the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR. Cancer research saves lives, folks.
By the way, 3-9 in the season, 0-9 in their conference.
They're terrible.
You're only as old as you feel.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. The Mike Missanelli Show with Bill Colarulo and Ray Dunn comes your way next, right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.